What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
What the fuck is it with you?
All right. What is it, Friday night? I can't believe it's already Friday night. How did that happen so quick? Unbelievable. All right. Friday. I hope everybody had a great week. I hope everybody's ready for the weekend. Hope everybody's ready to stay up late because we got lots to talk about tonight. Looks like we got Mickey Spambot. How you guys doing? Looks like Mickey got the first like. That means, of course, double good karma. Double good karma. Double. That good karma that you need, that you get for liking the stream and also for subscribing to the channel, of course. But when you get the first like, whether you're on YouTube, Rumble, Locals, or X, because we're streaming to all of those right now, you get double good karma first like on any of those. So you could get like 8 good karma. 8. Imagine what that could do for your life. It could really turn things around, I'm telling you. Rosie, how you doing? Good to see you. All right. So what are you guys talking about? Spambot says starting late. Well, I was 3 minutes. It was 7:33. I guess that is technically late. I apologize. I'm sorry, you guys. Let's see. Mickey actually remembered to log in tonight. That's great. Good work. Let's see. Spambot is ready to sleep. You know, I think probably a lot of people find it very pleasant falling asleep to Radio Baloney. I think it's a good thing. You'll have nice dreams. Let's see. Too much overtime, overnights. Yikes. Let's see. All right. Okay. So what's on the menu tonight? Well, we have to talk about Trump is, I mean, he's the GOAT, isn't he? He's the GOAT. You know, there he is with the president of South Africa. The media, of course, is spinning its tails again. It's narrative control. It's lies. What does Trump do? He just pulls out the evidence. He just pulls it out. Right. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. We're going to watch that. What else we got? So we're going to talk about, so we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about I have to make the point that the media in every Western country is just interchangeable. The Jake Tapper could go and work at the CBC. He wouldn't miss a step. He could work at the BBC. Anybody working at the BBC could go and work at CNN. They're all just interchangeable. They're all exactly the same thing. Canadian media, of course. What does Canadian media do? Just runs a bunch of Associated Press. Just the same lies. Let's see. We've got some memes that are fun. They're always better with purple hair. Memes are always better with, is that blue hair? Blue, purple hair, whatever. And we've got a bunch of those. We're going to talk about Scott Adams there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Don't say it's over. It's not quite over yet. So it looks like he may actually, there is something that he can do that may help. So we're going to take a look at that. And so that's something to feel good about, because Scott Adams is awesome. We're going to take a look at the Canadian economy a little bit. And Yeah, it's not looking good. We've got a little bit of some more Canadian political news. You guys have noticed that I've been doing less of the Canadian political news, doing more American stuff, doing just lots of different stuff, actually. We just did the one on the DUMBs, the deep underground military bases. We're doing a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to keep doing that. But we're going to still obviously cover Canadian stuff. And as that heats, I mean, we're just through the election. So I don't, for just myself personally, in terms of woke Canadian stuff, we're definitely going to be covering that. It's the same everywhere, of course, right? The woke shit. But it's particularly bad in Canada. It's the worst in Canada. The United States is starting to heal from the wokeness. Canada, no, it's still the festering wound of wokeness. So we'll talk about that a little bit because it's awful. But it's something that people need to be aware of. Most Canadians have absolutely no idea what our government does in our name. Most people have no idea. Most Canadians have no idea. All right. What do we got here? Woke mind virus stuff. You got a crazy professor from Vermont he teaches an economics class. And he's celebrating shoplifting. And it's okay, he says, because everyone does it. So here's an economist. This is the quality of the education and economics that you get from universities now. And again, this is exactly the same the world over. The institutions are the same throughout the Western world. It's something that's got to end. We're going to talk a little bit about Mark Carney's new culture minister. They've actually changed the title. Now it's like Canadian Identity. This is Stephen Guilbeault. He's the lunatic. He's the eco-fanatic, eco-terrorist who got arrested. I've shown you the pictures of him in the orange jumpsuit. He's going to be able to control what Canadians see or what's recommended to Canadians on the internet. So we're going to have to talk about that. We've got some more stuff on just the infinite series of abstractions that is gender theory. And again, it's Canada here, but we've also got some other stuff too. A new study from Helsinki's Gender Clinic talking about why everything is wrong about so-called gender-affirming care. We got some news from the States there regarding that. I brought this up. Let's see. Some kind of insider baseball really for Canadians with politics, but Jamil Jivani, he's kind of an up-and-coming star in the Conservative Party. I personally think that he's fantastic. Not offered a position in the shadow cabinet. I don't know why that is. It's very disappointing, and I think it's really stupid. We'll get into that a little bit. Let's see. The UK. Airstrip 1. 6 police officers came to my house and arrested me. Why? Because I'd been talking about my daughter's school on a WhatsApp group. So a parent being arrested for complaining about the school. So not much free speech there. What do we got here? Oh, this is just, what is this one? I don't know what this one is. This is just random stuff. I think this is just a random... I think that's just home. Okay, so that's just random stuff it's showing me. We have, of course, hold on one second. I just got to fix something here. Okay, hold on a sec. Because that shouldn't be that. Let's see, where is it? There we go. All right, that's it. All right, so then we have the last tab of the night, the last bookmark, where it's just random everything. Remember this? Remember her, the Scary Poppins? the Mary Poppins of disinformation and misinformation? She's a good reminder. Here's something that is supposed to be watching your house, monitoring your house. It's from Ring while you're not home. Eventually, of course, this thing will have some sort of powerful laser installed on it that will be used to terminate you when Skynet tells it to. So we'll take a look at that. Got some Joe Rogan stuff here, a bunch of random stuff. And that's what we always say for this last tab. It's random stuff. There's usually some funny stuff. I think we got some jokes, some comedy in here. Yeah, we got some comedy. Danny Polish-Chucky's pretty funny. Babylon Bee. All right, so there we go. So let's get back to the chat. All right. Women's tennis, I think, is the best of the women's sports. It's the one that translates best over to women because I know they're all very skilled. It seems like team sports with women aren't as good, like WNBA or women's hockey leagues, whatever, don't end up being that good. But uh, sports where it's just one person, it's not all of them. Women's boxing is absolutely appalling. UFC is a little better, but women's tennis is actually, they're very skilled. And because they're a little bit slower, they don't hit, they don't serve as hard. They don't volley as hard. So the game is a little bit slower and, longer rallies. It's a bit more fun. So I would say it's the one sport that's actually can be more enjoyable than men's sports. Let's see. All right. So anyway, let's get to the chat. All right. Spambot asks, why is it the X and locals are 2 seconds ahead of Rumble? I have no idea. Miles Buckley, howdy for locals. Hello on locals. Rosie says, just one thing. Not everybody shoplifts. No, communists do. But if you're not a communist, you're probably not stealing that much. Rosie says, that tennis court seems a little boring for playing tennis. Well, she's practicing. She's working on her swing. Mickey says, I like women's curling. I've never watched it. I can't say I've ever watched it. All right. Well, why don't we let's take a look at some memes. We'll take a look at a few memes before we get started. We'll wait for a few more people to pop in, shall we? All right. So what's this? I went to college, so that makes me better than you. This is the blue-haired lady saying this. Now pay off my loans, you uneducated racist. It makes you want to not pay off the loans, doesn't it? It makes you want to say, lie in your fucking bed, the bed that you made for yourself, going into $80,000 or $100,000 debt for your, underwater gender basket weaving degree. Not anybody else's problem. Your problem. You see the blue hair. And of course, we've made the point here before that it's, there are, insects that have bright colors like blues and deep reds. And it's to warn potential predators, that they're poisonous, that they're toxic. And I think there's something similar happening with humans. It somehow kind of was transposed into like the human genome. And they are telling everybody, I am toxic. And I'm definitely a dirty, filthy commie. All right. Let's see what else we got here. What's this? Men can't talk about abortion. And then Batman slaps Robin. He says, last week you said men can get pregnant. What? Yikes. Well, they do that, though, don't they? They do say that. They do. They can't make up their minds. I mean, this is the thing with wokeness, with progressivism. It's just feelings. It's just whatever feels progressive. They're not worried about any kind of consistency. They're not worried about any place where their ideology might clash. They don't care. It's just whatever feels, right? They don't care about incoherence. Right? It doesn't matter. Truth doesn't matter. I think this has been established that with the left, the modern left, truth does not matter. It's either the furtherance of power or just what feels progressive, what feels like something a progressive thing, a progressive person would support. Men can't talk about abortion, Batman. Last week you said men can get pregnant. Batman's right here, by the way. He is right to slap him. Absolutely right to slap him. Wait a second. What's this one? I never noticed this before, but Fidel Castro, Karl Marx, Mao, and Stalin all have those same googly AOC eyes. I never noticed that, but it's so true, isn't it? Look at them all. They have those same. AOC googly commie eyes. Crazy. I'm so glad that was cleared up. All right. What's this? The tyrant's faux post this dang. So what's going on there? Then Trump has the thing, 9s and above are not illegal. I think everybody can get behind that. 9s and above. No, let her in. Let her in. Let her in. Don't need to see your papers. Just let her in. Trump signed the thing. He signed the executive order. 9s and above are not illegal. Yep. You have to take her now. Let's see. My gynecologist says I can't have sex for 2 weeks. What did your dentist say? Ooh, that's offensive. That's very sexist. God, that's patriarchy. That's a patriarch right there, oppressing this poor woman. All right. I can tell by your sarcastic undertones, rude comments, and sheer lack of common decency that we should be friends. You know, maybe that should be the like the thing for this, like the thing for this channel, like the motto for this channel. I can tell by your sarcastic undertones, rude comments, and sheer lack of common decency that we should be friends. That's you, Mickey. That's you, Rosie. That's you, Miles. It's all of you. What a beautiful thing. All right. Well, maybe we should just get into the news. What are you guys saying here? Rosie likes synchronized swimming. Well, I can't say that I agree with you. I just can't. All right. Should we just get to it? Let's just get to it. Let's get to these stories. All right. So what's going on here? Yeah, Trump really makes himself a legend, doesn't he? So first off, I want to show you something. Where is it? So I think every video on this topic of the South African refugees, I think it should start with this video every single time. So here's Julius Malema, and he's a political leader in South Africa. There's a stadium. There's got to be 100,000 people there. And what does he have to say?
Alliance shoot to kill Hamaza, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr.
Now, if I were a white South African seeing that, I would want to get out. Whether I was just single or had a family, I would just want to get everybody that I cared about the hell out of the country that guy's in. Right? The guy, kill the farmer, kill the Boer. I'd want to get everybody that I cared about away from him. And he's one of 100,000 in that stadium there. Right? I'm pretty sure they didn't just get all the people who want to kill the white farmers, shoot the Boer, shoot to kill, all of that. I'm sure that's not all of them just in that stadium. I bet there's way more. I bet there's millions more. So, I mean, the New York Times does, tell us that, unfortunately, we're not educated enough to see the nuance in this, the shoot the Boer, shoot to kill. We're just not sophisticated enough to understand all the nuance there, that it's just simply an old folk song. And this is just a folk concert. So in the face of that, of course, everybody knows this exists now, and much more than that. And I've shown you much more than that. But let's see the media, The Guardian. So here's the British media. Trump ambushes South African president with video and false claims of anti-white racism. The false claims. You know, there's another fellow there in South Africa. Seems to have quite a following. And he's also got some other things to say. Let's listen to this gentleman here.
We'll kill the children, we'll kill the women, we'll kill anything that we find on our women's rights. We kill the children, we kill the women, we kill their dogs, we kill their cats.
Kill the women, kill the children, kill the dogs, kill the cats. Yeah, again, I'm sold. I'm sold on this whole refugee thing, right? And get them out. Media, not so much so. Media thinks it's all just made up. These are just all unfounded claims. Let's see. Axios, false claims. Reuters, how false white genocide claims. There's a million of them here. Canadian media just recycles all of this as well. Trump ambushes South African president with video of false claims. Really? So just there's no truth to any of this. Now, what you see happening is that the left doesn't use words to, the left doesn't use language to communicate. They use it to manipulate. So words can just mean whatever they want depending on the situation. So the word genocide is never used correctly today. I mean, Justin Trudeau told us that there's an ongoing genocide in Canada. That's ridiculous. That's as false of a statement as anybody could make. And it seems almost baffling that anybody could actually believe it. But that's fine. The media doesn't freak out. Well, that's not, Justin Trudeau's telling lies. He's making false claims. Right? It's just what suits them. I mean, by the modern definition that the left uses, they use that word constantly, and they throw it at literally everything, right? They're saying that there's a trans genocide in like every Western country right now. That's also utterly ludicrous and ridiculous, but we don't see like the Guardian or Reuters or Axios or the Boston Globe ever coming out with headlines about how that's a false claim. Because in that context, it's fine to use the word. The words just mean whatever they want to, whatever is politically expedient in the moment. But in this case now, all of a sudden, they have to get a little bit more specific. They have to be a little bit clearer. Well, it's not technically. Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing. It sounds like they really want to do it. I've shown you those guys. Those aren't just nobodies. Those aren't just nobodies. Those aren't just random people in South Africa. I mean, Malema there, there's got to be 100,000 people in that stadium. He's not just a nobody. So in this case, though, they have to get a little bit more technical. It's because they don't like it. So now it's not genocide. Things that are clearly not at all in any way. Like, have absolutely no justification. And there's no, incoming, there's no genocide on the way. I mean, there is no transgenocide. That's ridiculous. There is no ongoing genocide in Canada. That's absurd. They're fine with using a word there, though. But when Trump does, to describe something which sure looks like, it sure looks like an impending genocide, all of a sudden, well, it's false. This is all false, unfounded, because it's white people. Because it's white people, and because this is not part of the narrative. This isn't part of the race Marxism narrative. So what does Trump do in the face of all of this? What does Trump do in the face of all of this? Let's take a look.
Be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the president. It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah, let me.
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on the around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it.
Sure.
And we have documentaries, we have news stories. And that, is Natalie here, somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things. And it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would. And turn the lights down. Turn the lights down and just put this on. It's right behind you, Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you.
He's like, holy shit, he's doing it. He's showing this. Holy shit. Oh, this is embarrassing. Normally, they just kiss my ass. Normally, they're too afraid to criticize anything I say because they'll get called racist. What's happening?
From the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. So whatever you want to do, we can withdraw my membership from this useless parliament. Honorable. Yes, honorable member. Must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act.
A revolution demands there must be killing because killing is part of a revolution.
Shoot to kill. Yamaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Pa, 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 pa. To kill. Yamaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. The man of DAPE is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man. Not because Mashaba and Soli will not be touched. They will be touched, no one. But we are starting with this.
Why does he keep smiling? Like, obviously, like, come on, media. How about that? How about you mention that? Like, none of this is funny. None of this is funny. Malema is not just some guy. He's a leader of a major political party in South Africa. Right? He had a stadium of tens of thousands of people, probably 100,000 people there, chanting, "Kill the Boer." It didn't look like a folk concert to me.
Whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness. Shoot to kill. Yamaza. Kill the brewer, the farmer. Kill the brewer, the farmer. Pa, pa, pa. Shoot to kill.
Why don't these headlines? Let's go back to these headlines. How come it doesn't say, like, Trump plays disturbing threats of genocide by South African politicians? Why doesn't it say anything about that? It's just ambushes. Did they hear what these people have been? Have they seen these clips? Actually, of course they have. They don't care. Because what? It's not part of the narrative. They're not here to inform. They're here to manipulate. This is gross. This is gross. How many people did this red pill? Seeing this, how many people does this red pill? They hate you. They hate you. However much you hate them, you don't hate them enough. This is awful. Look at this.
There, Larry, has been debate over that song, that anti-apartheid chant, right? And for people who don't have a historical context, it does potentially appear more literal. Talk to us about the debate that is.
It does appear more literal. The kill the boar, kill the farmer, shoot to kill. It does appear more literal, right? I guess you have to trust the experts on this one, right? Are we still just blindly, credulously trusting the experts when the experts are clearly lying, are clearly ideologically motivated, don't care what reality is? New York Times told us it's just a folk song. It's just a folk song. Hey, it's just a folk concert. It doesn't, you can't take that literally.
Happened inside of South Africa with the recognition of how it appears to people when they hear those words.
It appears exactly as it is, obviously.
It is an inflammatory song, without a doubt. And many in South Africa, even black South Africans, don't think it should be sung in a post-apartheid world, 30 years plus after apartheid. But there are many who grew up under those years of white minority rule who understand the historical context of this song, Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer.
So what did it mean back then? So when this song first came out, right, when they first came up with this song, what did it mean then exactly? I kind of feel like it might have meant kill the boer, kill the farmer.
That Julius Malema has made popular again. It sort of fell into disuse. It's not been that commonly sung after the end of apartheid in 1994, but it's brought it back again to reanimate the issue of the majority of land in South Africa still being owned by white farmers.
So many in South Africa see it as inflammatory and don't think it should be sung. I wonder if that's because they realize, they see what's obvious is that it's a clear call to slaughter, racially based slaughter. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. CNN is trying so hard, though. Trying so hard to lose what's left of their audience. Let's see. New York Times, false claims, unfounded. ABC, debunked conspiracy theory. CNN, false claims. It really is amazing that even when he plays it he plays the stuff for the South African president, everybody at home who's watching this can see exactly what's going on. They can hear those words. They can go look for those videos themselves. And yet still they insist. Still they insist on lying. Still they insist on double standards, right? I mean, well, it's not the correct usage of the word, except they never care. That word is thrown around. The G word is thrown around by the left and everything. The double standards are incredible. There's a new thing I believe that I've coined. It's called degenerate cynicism. To the point where their cynicism is literally just like poison to a civilization, to a society. Right? It's almost like the amongst the worst moral failings at this point. I mean, when you have hypocrisy and lies this grotesque, right? Well, what else you got? We're saying, here's what we're saying on Radio Baloney Live now. On Radio Baloney, we're calling this degenerate cynicism. Here, this sums it up right here. Marco Rubio summed it up in one sentence. Let's listen.
Statutory phrase says you are entitled to entrance as a refugee if you demonstrate a well-justified fear of persecution.
No, you're not entitled.
So can you have a different standard based upon the color of somebody's skin? Would that be acceptable?
Well, I'm not the one arguing that. Apparently you are, because you don't like the fact that they're white, and that's why they're coming.
Say that would.
Yes, that's exactly it. He just summed the whole thing up perfectly. That describes this whole affair. You don't like the fact that they're white, that there were 60 white people. 60. 60. $20 million non-white? Fine. That's fine. That's actually good. It's actually good. They're actually better than Americans, actually, according to the left. 60 white people who were fleeing from maniacs, inspiring stadiums full of people to murder them, their families, even their pets. So, do these politicians know this? I don't know. I mean, maybe a lot of politicians, their aides give them a one sheet of paper with a couple of paragraphs on it that describes whatever the issue is in a hearing like this, and that's all they know. Maybe they do know, and again, they are consumed by degenerate cynicism. It's just political expediency. That's all it is. Maybe that's what it is. All right. Or maybe the outgroup preference is just so strong. They're just so brainwashed. Their brains are just so parasitized. Maybe they even believe it. Maybe he doesn't understand. Maybe he doesn't understand that, just because something doesn't feel progressive, like something doesn't feel like something that AOC would do or Michelle Obama would say, that doesn't mean that it's wrong, right? Like perhaps just this reflexive. And is that what it is? Is it just, I think with the left, this is what it is. Just this reflexive opposition to anything that doesn't feel like something that Michelle Obama or AOC would say. So it must be bad. It's just feelings, no principles, just feelings, just political correctness. This is what I should say. This is what feels right for me to say. For my bubble. Oh. So, I don't know. It's all just total lunacy, is it not? I mean, you see this. It says the media are evil, pure garbage. Who said that? That's Libs of TikTok. Trump presents evidence of the persecution of white South African farmers. The media, false claims, unfounded, baseless. The media are evil, pure garbage. They passed a law so that they can take their land, take their property without compensation, and there appears to be constant stadiums full of people that want to, clearly, just obviously, I'm sorry, New York Times, I guess I'm just not nuanced enough, but it sure seems like they want to kill them, and they're very happy to tell everybody about it. All right. So let's get to the chat for a second. All right. Nevada says, did I just get the third like? Only the third like? Good Lord. I'm going to do a like on it myself. All right. Everybody like the stream. You get free good karma when you like the stream. Did you know that? Is everybody aware of that? You get free good karma. All you have to do is hit the like. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And then you also get free karma. You can get 2 free karmas just from liking and also subscribing to the channel. And in these troubled times, can you afford to turn your back on that? I don't think so. Not in these troubled times, my friends. Let's see. Rosie says, that rally is nauseating. Yeah, it's barbaric. Nevada says, ignorant barbarians. It's barbaric. I would want to get my family the hell out of there. Myself and my family the hell away from those lunatics. Nevada says, this shit has been going on for decades already. Well, before we move on, actually, Trump also showed this. Where is it? I've got it in here somewhere. Oh, by the way, here's the South Africans. It's not just military-aged men by themselves. They've actually got families with them, huh? Isn't that interesting? I thought that didn't exist. There you go. Here's a road lined, and it goes on for a long time, lined with crosses representing murdered farmers. And it goes on and on and on. Media says false, false, false. It's grotesque. Just think about that. I mean, how do these people sleep at night, right? I mean, they're ready to throw accusations of genocide around at a moment's notice at anything, shamelessly. But the second it's something that's not, approved progressive narrative, all of a sudden now they have to get strict with the word. I say, to hell with them. All right. That's why they're dying. It's why the mainstream media is dying. Rosie says, yes, Africa has preferred genocide for decades, not just South Africa. Well, you had the Rwandan genocide as well. There's also ongoing in Sudan. Nevada says, that's my president. Meet the new boss. Rosie says, boss.
Everything woke turns to shit.
Nobody would do this. It's why he's so hated. It's why Trump is so hated. Because nobody else would do this. Nobody else would do that. This is principle. This is principle. You know that there are people around him saying, oh, come on, we don't want another scandal or blah, 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 or, just take it. He's like, no. Truth. The truth matters. All right, let's see. Izzy's late. That's fine, Izzy. Good to see you. Let's see. Like number 5. Good work. Spambot says, local stream ended early again. I don't know what's going on with that. It looks like there's still people on there. So I don't know. Maybe try it again. Let's see. Nevada says, every channel said ambush. Well, it's false claims. So then there were, I think I've got one too with the ambush thing as well. False claims. I mean, look, false claims. False claims. It's like if you ever feel like, we have the videos of the news anchors, the news readers, the teleprompter readers, just all speaking the same sentence in regard to just whatever, Trump thing or conservative thing or non-woke thing or politically incorrect thing. They all do it together. We've all seen those videos where there's like 30 of them on the screen and they're all, synchronized saying the exact same thing. It's like one person puts the words on the teleprompters of all of them. It's the same with this. It's like they got a memo from the Democrat Party or something. AOC sent them a memo, right? It's incredible. How you doing, MHJ? Good to see ya. Let's see. Nevada says, the whites settled the country 400 years ago when it was deserted. Yeah, I think it was, 1647, something like that. There was nothing there. Most of the people living there were tribes that didn't live in that area. Here's the thing. When you all of a sudden have a technological society with modern medicine and electricity and all of the amenities, it draws people in, right? If you've got the most advanced country in a continent, people are going to be drawn to it, right? So you have a bunch of people. There was nothing there. In the area where they settled, there was no farms there. Nobody was farming. They didn't conquer anybody. They just went to this place where there was nobody, or very, very few people, very sparsely populated, and built an amazing civilization there. Now, unfortunately, it was not going to work out. But they built, maybe they could have, I guess, I don't know. I'm not a historian of South Africa. I don't know. I don't know what would have been the political solution that would have worked that wasn't apartheid, because obviously apartheid did not work in the end, right? So, but essentially the point is, again, I'm not a historian of South Africa, but the point is that you had this, modern civilization built. It's got all of these amenities, all of the modern things that you want: electricity, hospitals, cars, roads, all that kind of stuff. It draws people in. Most of the people there they're not native to that land, right? There was basically nobody there, right? So the claims that they took our land, these are from, most of the people, the vast majority of the people came from nowhere near to South Africa. So these are false claims of ownership anyway. But in any case, let's move on. Let's see. CNN, why does that sound familiar? Wasn't it a news station or something? One more time.
Everything woke turns to shit.
Let's see. Clinton News Network, I think, right? Izzy says, yeah, that's about it. Commie News Network, Nevada says. Rolling Pony says there was a movie from 1997 called The Killing Fields about South Africa killing white farmers. Yeah, there was The Killing Fields was also, I think, a better known movie called, was it from the 80s? Called The Killing Fields, about Cambodia, Pol Pot, and communism always goes really bad. By the way, they're all communists, by the way, all the political parties in South Africa now. They're all socialists or just full-on communists. The Malema, the shoot-to-kill guy, the kill-the-Boer guy, he's a straight-up communist. Rolling Pony says, after Mandela, that country turned to crap. Well, what they did was they immediately started replacing the old racial laws with new racial laws, right? So how they could have made the whole thing work, I don't know. Like how, I mean, it's just two different worlds, really, but I'm sure that maybe there was some way they could make it work. But again, I mean, you have, basically a European civilization versus an African and indigenous African cultures that are very difficult. And it's hard to kind of make these different worlds meld, right? And work together. I mean, the British Empire, they just left. Rosie says, this exposes their true agenda. It's not about immigration. It's about certain kinds of immigration. Yes, 100%. They just don't like it because they're white. Let's see. Rolling Pony says, killing white farmers is probably a problem spanning over 28 years. Yeah, it's been a long-term problem. Nevada says, Mandela's wife invented the necktie. Yikes. That's where they put the tire over your head and light it on fire. It's a very horrible thing. Let's see. Rolling Pony saying, we need in America to change our Franken farming methods. With 60 some odd farmers could teach younger Americans their farming methods. Our small farmers are aging and younger people need farming. Well, that's a good point, actually. Very useful. I mean, the other thing about the South African farmers is that they're all vetted and they're all employable, right? They all speak English. It's a culturally Christian nation that they're coming to. Like, they're just kind of built to succeed in the United States. Metalmouth says, good evening, everyone. What pisses me off is the fact that the South African president thinks that what President Trump showed him was an effing joke. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I mean, that's, I commented on that. We're watching the video. I mean, he's smiling in it. Like, it's not funny. Not funny. I mean, that should do, does the Associated Press, does Axios, the CNN, do they mention any of this? Do they say, it is a bit weird that he was like smiling through this, right? Well, the guys are talking about, slaughtering the whites in South Africa. No, of course not. Of course not. Just, they're there to manipulate you. Let's see. Rolling Pony says Trump needs to send agents to investigate and then sue Mockingbird Media. Well, he already has sued, hasn't he? Didn't he sue CNN? All right. Okay, I'm going to skip to the end of the chat here, and then we'll get moving. We're 51 minutes in already. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Nevada says, all stinking commies, just like Mandela. It's communism, socialism are very popular in Africa. Coward News Network, Metalmouth says. Spambot says, I was in Haiti during the attempted coup. Really? I'm amazed you're still alive. To this day, I cannot stand the smell of roasting pork. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Yikes. All right, let's move on, people. Oh, yeah, I just want to show you this as well. So the media is the same everywhere. So here's Global Mail. Here's Canadian media. Trump confronts South Africa's president with baseless claims of targeted killings of white farmers. This is just all, here we go. Trump confronts South African leader with baseless claims of systematic killing of white farmers. Associated Press. They just recycle all this stuff. It's the same. It's just, they're all interchangeable. You could take anybody from CNN and put them on the BBC or the CBC. They would have absolutely no problem. They would just be the flawless transition, right? They'd get their page that tells them what their opinions are. The words would come up on the teleprompter, the same as it does, in the state. The same. The teleprompters work the same in the States, Canada, UK, wherever, France, Germany. They work the same everywhere. They can all just do it flawlessly. Just transpose their narrative control to just whichever English-speaking country. Jake Tapper could he could do just as terrible of a job in Canada or the UK or Australia. It doesn't matter. They don't matter. All that matters is the narrative. As long as you're willing to do it, as long as you're willing to spout the narrative, you got a job for life. A good paying job for life. So yeah, Canada's exactly the same. The mainstream media in the Western world it's all just totally interchangeable. You can't tell them apart. All right. So here's something that's kind of good-ish news. So we all know that Scott Adams has revealed that he has fatal cancer, terminal cancer. But hold on a second. Hold on. There might be some hope for him. So, and by the way, might I say that, very inspirational the way that Scott Adams announced this was very inspirational, very stoic, extremely stoic. I think he must have read Marcus Aurelius. Very dignified. That's the way that you want to go out if you've got to go out. And eventually we all got to go out, right? Colin Rugg, Scott Adams says President Trump called him after finding out. Okay, hold on a second. We'll get back to that. But I've got something else. Where is it? That's a separate one. Here it is. Okay. From Liz Churchill, Scott Adams states he'll be starting a new cancer treatment and that his odds of survival increased from 0% to 30%.
Anyway, I'm going to give you a vague update on my health situation. Most of you are up to date. You know that I have a fatal form of cancer, prostate that has metastasized to my bones. So in theory, if I didn't do anything, and it's sort of incurable, so there's not much you can do, I would be dead pretty soon. However, I have decided on a path of treatment that I'm not going to tell you about. Now, it has to do with real doctors. It's not going to be me grazing in my backyard and rubbing mud on myself like most of you are recommending.
To have this level of this kind of to have a sense of humor when you're in very dire trouble is really admirable.
I'm not going to be taking ivermectin. I'm not going to be spending more time in the sun. I'm sure all those are good things, but I don't believe any of them would make me better. I think somebody would have noticed if you could cure incurable cancers with, just sort of minor diet changes and things like that. So the reason I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do is because I know what the reaction would be. Somebody would tell me I'm crazy and, I should eat mud and do some damn thing. And
eat mud. Now, he'd already revealed in a tweet earlier that he tried like the ivermectin things and basically everything out there already, and none of it had actually been effective. But here's one more thing, and he says that his odds of survival increased to 30% from 0 to 30%, which is still not great, but it's a lot better than 0, right? I wonder if this had anything to do with his call with Trump, right? Because Trump called him from Colin Rugg. Scott Adams says President Trump called him after finding out about his cancer diagnosis. Let's take a look here. I wonder if this has anything to do with Trump, because this announcement comes really, really shortly after his call with Trump.
So yesterday I'm home, and I've been getting lots of people reaching out because of my recent health related news, and but I can't talk to everybody. Like it's just continual messages coming in, and I have to kind of pace myself. So I see a phone number coming in. Somebody's calling me from some number I don't recognize, something in Florida, and I sent it to voicemail. And a little bit later, I thought, I better check that voicemail and see if that was anything I need to deal with. And the first sentence in the transcription, because the phone gives you the text version of the voicemail as well. The first sentence is, "This is your favorite president." And I thought to myself, no. Did I just send the most important person in the world to voicemail? And it turns out that I had. It was Trump, and he was just calling to check in. Now he left a semi-lengthy little voicemail, just saying he was checking on me, heard about my health situation, and then he says, you can call me back on this number. Now, obviously, I don't call him back, right? Because that would just be ridiculous.
I would have called him back.
Just was a nice thing for him to say, because he called me. You could call me back on this number. So I didn't call him back on that number because I thought I'd, it's not like he's sitting at the Resolute desk waiting for my call. I thought that whatever it is he's doing has got to be more important, than randomly taking a call from me. So I don't call him back. Hours go by. It's the afternoon, same day. It's the afternoon. And all of a sudden another call comes through, also from Florida. And I thought to myself, no fucking way. There's no way he's calling me again. And I answer it, and it's Trump. And apparently he'd heard of my situation, and he had lots of questions. I won't get into the details of our conversation because that would be inappropriate. But he was just checking on me. And he had, he wanted to make sure that I was getting everything I needed. And that was it. you know. But at the end, the strangest thing happened at the end. At the end of the call, you know, when he found out, you know, the situation was kind of dire, and I was still checking out some things that might help. He said, "If you need anything, I'll make it happen." And he meant it. He was completely aware of our, let's say, parallel journeys from 2015. He mentioned it. And it was just the most incredible, weird, hard to understand situation. But boy, was it fun. So anyway, that's my story. And I'm sticking to it.
So, for one thing, you're never going to hear about this. Like, there are tons of stories. There's tons of stories of these kinds of acts of kindness from Trump. You never hear about them in the media. You won't hear about this one. But he says, Trump said, you know, and if there's anything you need, I'll make it happen. And now all of a sudden there's a treatment that takes his you know, his chance of recovery from 0% to 30%, which is, you know, that's still not great, but it's a lot better than zero. It's hope. You know, and he goes on to say in that video where he announces this, that these are, you know, top doctors. Trump isn't flying them into Mexico, you know, or, you know, he's not flying them somewhere for like some voodoo thing. Like, these are top doctors in the United States. This is all, you know, I'm guessing this is an experimental treatment, but it's the sort of thing that, you know, Scott Adams is going to put some hope in. So Trump calls him, says, if you need anything, I'll make it happen. All of a sudden, there's some hope. It's beautiful. It's a really nice, this is nice. This is the side of Trump that you just don't see. You don't ever hear about. Think about that. He's the president. He's got a lot to worry about. It certainly goes along with this. You know, I've heard many stories about how Trump is totally indefatigable. He doesn't get tired. He barely sleeps. He just works all the time. He's got endless energy. He credits it to just never exercising. That's what he says. Other than golf, apparently Trump believes, and I think he might be onto something here, that you've only got so much energy in your life. And he doesn't want to waste it jogging and in the gym and stuff, right? He'll play golf, you know, and that's about it. And maybe he's onto something, because he's got a lot more energy than the vast majority of people like in their prime. To the point where, with everything on his plate, he takes the time out of his day to call Scott Adams. Scott Adams doesn't answer, and then calls him back. Says, if there's anything that you need, I'll make it happen. And then a few days later, he's getting this new treatment that he didn't know about. So it sounds like Trump made something happen. Let's see. What are you guys saying? I know you guys are going to have something to say about it. Let's see. And also, too, I just want to say, I mean, it is really admirable, the stoicism that you see from Scott Adams. You know, like he's not just been joking about it, like the way he lives his life. It's not been bullshit. I mean, clearly at that point where you know that you're at the end of the road and you still are able to behave with total dignity, to say everything ends. Just remember, everything ends. And to have a laugh, to joke about, you know, eating mud. You know, it's incredibly admirable, and it's an incredible example. I mean, you've got Starbucks workers freaking out, acting like it's the end of the world because Starbucks wants them to wear a black shirt. You have people crying and screaming and getting hysterical because they got misgendered. All right, let's move on. Well, not move on. Let's get into the chat. I want to see what you guys were saying. Let's see. Metal Mouth says, praying for Scott Adams. Izzy says, "Oh, hope for Scott Adams. I hadn't heard. Yeah, it's fantastic." Let's see. Rosie says, "Definitely a life-changing experience. I'm sorry. PTSD and leftover memories are real for these things." And Izzy says, "Definitely go for the mid-bath." I don't know what that is. Let's see. Mud bath. Mud. Well, he was joking about eating the mud. As he says, Trump called him, holy shit. It's an amazing story, isn't it? Let's see. As he says, love Trump for caring. Called him twice even. Heartwarming. It's very, Rada says, boss is awesome. President Trump is the ultimate boss, Middlemouth says. Rolling Pony, Trump in his apprentice days kept a black woman from committing suicide. I've heard that story. Also, like the Trump family, they had a black woman who worked for them who had a drug addiction, addicted to cocaine, and they put her through rehab and everything, and she's still with them, and apparently they treated her like family. You will never hear any of these stories in the media. They're there for them. They could tell them, but narrative control, not part of the narrative. Let's see. Sabricot says, that's so beautiful, Baloney, so beautiful. It is. 100% it is. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to skip to the end here. As he says, would be amazing if he survives it. Was pretty sad when I heard about Scott. I think everybody was. It was just so out of nowhere, too, you know? Especially when he was saying that it's like he had till the summer. Let's see. As he says, not that I agree with him always, but I can appreciate his perspective even when I don't agree with him. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing on our side. It's not even left and right anymore. It's crazy and then sane. That's it. So you've got the left. The left is now far left. The leftist policies, like what used to be, just centrist politicians, are not centrist anymore. They're now all far leftist. All of their policies are crazy. Every Democrat supports open borders now. Everyone. They may not say that. They may say, well, I don't support that, but they are very happy to have 20 million people cross their border illegally in 4 years, and very upset when they try and get rid of them. Every Democrat that anybody's ever heard their name supports sex changes for children. There's the same in Canada, the Liberal Party of Canada, not a centrist, left-leaning party anymore. Radical leftist party. Every single liberal politician in Canada supports sex changes for children. Like sterilizing, mutilating children. They all support it 100%. In fact, they think it's evil if you don't. These aren't moderates. No, these people aren't moderates. So it's basically just crazy versus sane now, right? So the sane people can hear things, the sane people can see somebody, realize that there is value, they bring value to society, and you don't have to agree with every single goddamn thing they say, right? If they're sane and you can have a conversation with them. That it's not that way with the left. They have to be on board with everything, or else they're in for a struggle session. MHJ says, I am with Rolling Pony that RFK Jr. is part of new treatment. Maybe, yeah. Maybe. Streamer, how you doing? Good to see you. Streamer says, hello, chat. He said, and then he says, hello, my fellow degenerates. Fellow degenerates. All right. Let's move on. Anyway, that's just a nice story. So with all the negativity, it's still, it's still sad because it's, he's going from 0 to 30% chance, but there's hope there, right? So it's a hopeful note. Oh, let's check out this one. Fake news word of the day, ambush. Let's check this out. All right. Kekius Maximus, that's Elon Musk. The legacy media puppet parade. We should have shown this in the South Africa segment, but we'll take a look now.
To the dramatic scene in the Oval Office today, the tense confrontation, President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa.
Up next, another Oval Office meltdown, President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa.
President Trump is being accused of conducting something of a diplomatic ambush of South Africa's president in the Oval Office.
To be with you, I'm Katie Tur. President Trump orchestrated another Oval Office ambush today.
Today, Donald Trump meeting with the president of South Africa and attempting to ambush and humiliate that leader.
Keep in mind, while we're watching this, that every word they're saying is coming off of a teleprompter. Every word out of their mouths is coming out of a teleprompter.
Zelensky territory, where essentially he was a bit ambushed inside the Oval Office.
Felt like an ambush in there, kind of like the President Zelensky meeting in the Oval Office.
This was an ambush. It was orchestrated.
Ramaphosa brought his best diplomatic self to this meeting, but nothing could have prepared him for this multimedia ambush.
What started as, to some degree, an ambush.
Well, Katie, I mean, it was an ambush.
Ambush.
Ambushed.
Ambush.
An ambush.
Ambushing.
Ambushed inside the Oval Office.
You know who was ambushed? The media was ambushed. They weren't ready for it. I mean, this just reflexive response. And it's everything from them. It's just reflexive, right? It's just, did Trump say it bad? Trump say it bad. AOC say it good. Biden say it good. Did Trump say it bad? Bad, bad, bad. Is there no... I guess there's just one person who tells them what to say. There's just somebody at a typewriter. There's somebody writing the words for the teleprompters, and it just goes out to all of them. It can't just be a fluke. Like, it can't just be a coincidence, can it? Obviously. I mean, you'd think that if they're looking at the other channels, right, they'd say, well, maybe we don't want to say the exact same words. It's almost like they're forced to. You'd think they'd be kind of embarrassed to, because they must know that videos like this are going to happen where they're all just saying the exact same thing. It's like they're forced to it. It's like George Soros is forcing them all to do it. No, you must read the lines as they're written. But it just makes it sound like we're all just reading off the same teleprompter. We don't care. Legacy Media Puppet Parade. What else do you call them other than puppets? What else do you call them? It doesn't feel like they have their own will, their own free will, their own minds. Again, you'd think that they'd want to like change it up a little bit. I mean, they could still be negative, unreasonably negative. They could still just be, pushing a predetermined narrative and, not use the exact same sentence. I find it very weird. In wokeness, before you ask, yes, we voted for this. Yep. All right, we've seen all this. Let's get back to the chat for a second. We have to do lots of chat checking. Let's see. Izzy says, yeah, try anything RFK suggested. Let's see. Rosie says he's on a good path and leading others that way. All right. Izzy says, still hope it involves a mud bath, though, just because I think it'd be fun. Talking about Scott Adams there. All right. Let's move on. Do I even want to deal with this one, though? All right. From Mark Nixon. So, Canada's a mess. We've got our globalist technocrat, hobgoblin, prime minister. Another a fourth liberal government term. I don't think it's going to go well. Let's see. From Mark Nixon, Trump's one big beautiful bill could blow up the Canada-U.S. tax treaty. Withholding tax on Canadian investors, U.S. income could jump to 50%. Cost to Canadians $81 billion over 7 years. Target Canada's digital services tax. So what is that? So this is looking like it's a threat of retaliation against Canada's digital services tax. The digital services tax applies at a rate of 3% on revenue earned from certain digital services that rely on engagement, data, and content contributions of Canadian users. So this is X. This is YouTube. This is social media, Facebook, Meta, Instagram, all of that. It's just a money grab by the government, by a spendthrift government that appears to have no idea what a budget is. So, hold on. I think did I have? Okay, so here's from the Globe and Mail. Canadian business groups press Ottawa on digital tax as U.S. bill targets investors. So, Canada's business community is calling on Prime Minister Mark Carney to review the digital services tax that has triggered the U.S. government's proposed retaliatory taxes on Canadian companies and investors in U.S. securities. Now, I just want to state here quickly that this would be a disaster for the Canadian economy. All of those, unless this is sorted, and it looks like they have to get rid of this digital services tax, which obviously American tech companies are not going to like. But this has to be dealt with, or else all of those liberal boomers elbows up liberal boomers who voted for Carney are in big trouble. This could be disastrous for Canada, for the Canadian economy. This has to be dealt with. Carney has to do what he has to do to stop this from happening. For a normal, maybe this whole the relationship is never going to be normal again. Maybe all of that rhetoric from Carney wasn't such a great idea, because when you've got an economy that's 10 times the size of yours, maybe threats aren't the best idea. Maybe just saying, you know what, let's work something out. Maybe that's the best idea. Hey, you've got some good points. Let's work something out. Maybe threatening to lead some global coalition in some trade war against the U.S. during the campaign is maybe not the best idea. Maybe Trump remembers everything that Carney said, even though he's delighted that Carney's the prime minister. I think that's because he's going to get everything that he wants with Carney. I think if Carney does what he says that he's going to do, what he's promising that he's going to do, he's promised that he's going to make those big polluters pay, which is just Canadian businesses and industry. He's going to make them pay. He's going to tax the hell out of them. What are they going to do? They're going to go south. Help Trump repopulate that hollowed out industrial plant in the United States. I think that's why Trump loves Carney, why he's so happy that Carney won, why he endorsed him, right? But Carney's going to have to do something about this, because this is a disaster. This is a complete disaster. U.S. Donald Trump's massive domestic policy bill, which was passed by the U.S. House of Representatives on Thursday, includes a section targeting foreign jurisdictions that have implemented a digital services tax on large U.S. technology companies, or have an undertaxed payments rule. Canada enacted its digital services tax in 2024 and has proposed implementing an undertaxed payment rule. Let's see, maybe when you just don't have any leverage, all this stuff is a bad idea. Let's see, for countries that retain the targeted tax rules, Section 899 of the bill will increase the tax rate for Canadian companies and could cost investors who own U.S. securities up to $81 billion in additional taxes over 7 years, according to an estimate by the Securities and Investment Management Association. Anthony Quinn, the chief operating officer for the Canadian Association of Retired Persons, or CARP, said the proposed tax increase is deeply troubling for its 255,000 members, many of whom rely heavily on income from U.S. investment in their retirement portfolios. Mr. Quinn is calling on the federal government to prepare to reevaluate the digital services tax if it becomes clear that the consequences of this policy, quote, disproportionately hurt Canadian savers and retirees. This is going to hurt millions of Canadians, like devastate millions of Canadians if it actually goes through. Tax fairness must not come at the cost of economic self-harm. It's clear that powerful American interests, particularly in the tech sector, have flexed their political muscle in shaping this legislation. It has to go. The digital services tax has to go. It's just a money grab in the first place. The Canadian government is going to have to learn how to budget. There's just no other way around this, right? Like this idea that you can just keep grasping and clawing, and not even just Canadians. Now it's international companies. It's really not off to a good start. This fourth liberal term. Pensions, RRSPs, and cross-border deals wrecked. This would be devastating for Canada. If the Liberals' goal is to send us back to the Stone Age, who knew it could work this fast? That's the same thing there. How about this from Table Salt? Canadian leftists are starting to realize they had been manipulated by Carney and Mike Myers. Mike Myers, the Canadian who I think probably when he came and did that little elbows up video with the hockey jersey with Mark Carney, it'd probably been the first time he was in Canada in about 50 years. Flew into Toronto for probably 3 hours, made the video, and flew back home again. Let's take a look.
It can be a little head spinning when you think of the elbows up to let's make a deal on continental missile defense. And yet I think there is importance in that nuance of like figuring out what the actual relationship we're talking about is.
Well, yeah, Carney's saying he wants to be a part of the Golden Dome. I mean, it's Trump. Of course it's going to be called the Golden Dome. It's not going to be called the Iron Dome. It's going to be called the Golden Dome. But anyway, let's continue.
Does any of that break through? Like it matters how you communicate this stuff.
I think head spinning is the right way to describe it. Even in this press conference, he was talking about our sovereignty is at stake. And when he was pressed on it, you know, his sovereignty isn't really at stake by his own admission. He doesn't want to talk about the 51st state. That notion's dead. But then why are you saying our sovereignty is at stake? Because after that, he says, you know, we need a new global commercial trading system, right? And this is where I get a little bit uncomfortable with Mark Carney, because if you read his book, Values,
I was a lot uncomfortable with him right from the very start, certainly from the time that I got his book.
He talks about the need for a new global commercial trading system. And I don't want to see him sort of manipulate an already tense time that Canadian businesses, families, workers are feeling to achieve some ideological goal he's long had. The truth is he can't change geography.
They're just figuring it out now. It's a little bit late. Some ideological goal that he's long had. You mean the thing where there's 8,000 interviews with him since like 2013 talking about his ideological goals? You mean since the fact that he published a book in 2021 about his long-held ideological goals? Geez, you're just figuring it out now. You just figured it out now. I mean, this is, I'm sure, one of those people who just couldn't bear, I guess like a Bill Maher, right? They'll complain, but they'll just keep voting the same way because it's just so unfashionable. It's just icky to vote conservative. It's political fashion, my friends.
The truth is the U.S. is always going to be our number one trading partner. The relationships and touch.
You guys might remember somebody else mentioning these facts, that the U.S. is always going to be our number one trading partner, that maybe this talk of completely reorienting and recreating global trade is retarded. Do you guys remember somebody mentioning something about this?
Points are bigger and deeper than the governments have, right? Donald Trump, God willing, won't be here longer than 3.5 more years. And there's going to be a relationship with the US after that. So I think he's got to really nail down, are we against America? Are we pro-America? And he's got to find, I think, a more delicate and smooth way to talk about it, because he's got to drop this sovereignties at stake business.
Thing is, we really have no idea with Carney because he's such a fluent liar, right? So we really have no idea, right? It's a relationship with the states is over. Our security relationship with the states is over. And he goes down and he praises Trump. And then, we want to be part of the Golden Dome. We don't know anything. Like, he started lying immediately as soon as he came on the scene. He lied about Brookfield moving their headquarters. He lied about on silly things, like about having stepped down from all the, the boards that he was on. Just silly stuff, like easily checked, right? Lie. He said that the United States gets almost all of their semiconductors from Canada, and a tough guy like him could just stop that, and they just stop arriving. That's just a bafflingly idiotic lie. I hope it was a lie, because if he actually thought that was true, by the way, it's like less than 1%. If he actually thought that was true, boy, that's scary for a genius economist. Thing is, we just don't know what's coming. We don't know. My suspicion is he's going to do exactly what he said he wants to do in his book, and what he's been telling anybody who would listen to him for, the last 10 years. That's my guess. All right. Oh, yeah. We get the same tricks in Canada as you get everywhere else. Let's see. It's remarkable how the Liberal Party selectively shares information. They talk about inflation is down 1.7%, but omit that other sectors have seen an upward spike, yet don't mention it. Food, overall, up 3.8%. Vegetables, 3.7%. Beef, 16%. Coffee and tea, 13%. And this is only down because they removed the consumer carbon tax. It's actually not gone as a law, but it's just been reduced to 0 for the time being, so Carney can jack it up when he decides he wants to. But this is short-lived. Any improvement in inflation from the reduction in the consumer carbon tax will be short-lived, because he's jacking up the taxes on industry, and of course, on the oil producers, the oil industry, and of course, that's gonna. Of course, the consumers are going to end up paying for that, obviously. All right. I don't know. Should we just move on? All right. Let's move on. What is this? Okay. So Canadians have been very worried because there's been these recounts and they seem kind of suspicious. You had the Liberals winning a recount by 1 vote, which seems kind of strange. They all seem to be going in the Liberals' favor. But it looks like they're not going to be able to get. So right now they are at 170 seats, and they needed a couple more to have a majority government, and then it's just free reign. They can do whatever. They don't have to cooperate with anybody else. And then it's just Canada's just beyond a doubt. It's just airtight screwed, right? But let's watch this.
Mark Cargasol joins me now with more. So what is the result in Terra Nova, the peninsulas?
Andrew, we've got a flip. For a while now, it seemed, and on election night, it seemed as though the Liberals had won the riding of Terra Nova, the peninsulas, but within the last half hour, the results came down from the recount, and Elections Canada has announced that Conservative Jonathan Rowe is the new MP in that riding. So constituents of that riding, meet your new MP, Jonathan Rowe. The interesting thing here is that on election day, Liberal candidate Anthony Germain won the riding by a total of 12 votes, which triggered the re-election because it falls within the threshold of needing a recount, because it was so close. And now today they have announced that Jonathan Rowe has actually beaten Anthony Germain by 12 votes. So 12 votes either way, but it looks as though...
And there was another recount where the a bunch of votes went to the Liberals, but the Conservatives still held on by 4 votes. So in any case, the point is Carney's not going to get his majority unless he can flip, somebody, unless he can flip, maybe a couple of NDP, maybe then. So we'll just have to see. We're not, we're certainly not safe with a liberal government, but we might be safe from a liberal majority still. So we'll just have to see. I think if the NDP can get in, and of course, this is probably far too much for the NDP, the New Democratic Party in Canada. They're supposed to be the furthest left party. They're competing with they're competing with the Liberals for who can be the most ridiculously woke party. But if they can get a new leader and who is competent and ambitious, they could turn around their fortunes. I mean, they went from 17% of the vote in 2021 to 6 or 7% in the last election. Very, very poor showing. They could turn that around with a real leader, an intelligent, articulate, ambitious, and smart leader. I think my guess is that the next leader will probably be a photograph of a cloud that looks kind of like Greta Thunberg, or maybe just like a tree with a face painted on it. So I don't have high hopes for them. Certainly, if they can turn it around, if they can actually get an effective leader, an ambitious leader, it'd be good for the Conservatives because it will draw some of those votes back from the Liberals. I think any conservatives, working class conservatives that have defected from the NDP and there are some that have defected from the NDP to the Conservatives, they're conservatives for life now. I think people, when they go conservative, that's just it. They've seen enough. They've hit the line. They realize that the nice, boutique, the nice luxury beliefs on the left just don't work. And they're very unlikely to go back again. All right. So anyway, that's good news for Canada. We've got some woke Canada stuff coming up here. Some woke Canada stuff. Because Canada's woke. Most Canadians don't realize Canada is one of the wokest countries in the world, if not the wokest country. For a number of reasons that we can get into. Let's go back to the chat for a second. And hold on a second. Everybody likes sandwich making. Let's turn this on. Why isn't it working? There we go. Love sandwiches. These are the best sandwiches I've ever seen, too, by the way. Fantastic stuff. All right. What else can we do, actually? There's one other thing we can do. Ooh, this is good. You guys are going to like this. This is fantastic. Still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units. That's pretty exclusive stuff right there. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits harder than a CNN fact check, the smooth medium roast, and a Vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus. No crash and no communism. All single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's political opinions. And a black 1775 tumbler that says, I don't take life advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch. I didn't say that, but she's probably a dirty, filthy commie. $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for, this can't be right, only $99. $170 worth of coffee and gear for $99. That's unbelievable, folks. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com. That's 1775coffee.com/studio. You're going to need that studio to grab your starter kit before they're all gone. There's not that many. Don't be a dirty, filthy commie. There we go. There we go. Izzy says, coffee, my night is now complete. I know. Everybody waits for the coffee ad. Everybody's always waiting for the coffee ad. Let's see. What are you guys talking about? You know what? I need to take a break, you guys. I need to take a break for like 1 or 2 minutes. So I'm going to leave you to watch the sandwich show. And I'll be right back. I think the reason why women's tennis is the best women's sport is because it's athletic, but it showcases their kind of natural feminine grace. Right? They're not punching each other, kicking each other in the head. Not playing hockey. It doesn't work. Hockey like that. Try to watch like the women's hockey. It just looks like, and I'm not saying this to be gratuitously offensive right now, but it just looks like a bunch of retarded 12-year-olds. Now, with tennis, it's a little slower than the men's game. And that's actually good. Often women's tennis matches are better. And it's not because they're all gorgeous like this girl here, right? And I'm not saying this to be gratuitously offensive here, but most of them are real dogs, You get the odd one, like Anna Kournikova or Maria Sharapova or something like that. But most of the time, it's just a bunch of real donkeys out there. But I tell you what, they're good. They're highly skilled. And I appreciate it. I like watching women's tennis. So you see, I'm not like some misogynist, right? All right. Anyway, let's get to the chat. Did I just lose my entire female audience? YouTube tells me my audience is 87% male, 13% female. I don't know. Did I just shave some of that female audience off? I don't know. But I have to say these things. It's like Tourette's or something. I don't want to. I have to. My brain tells me I have to. I can't sleep at night if I don't. Why didn't I say that? Why didn't I say the donkey thing? Let's see. Let's get through the chat here. All right. There's lots of chat here. I can't get through all of it, I don't think. Let's see. I guess talking about root beer and frosted mugs. That's good. We love that. Let's see. Izzy says, woke Canada is depressing. It is. It's woke everywhere. Just Canada's the most woke. And, fortunately in the United States is setting a good example by trying as hard as they can. The Trump administration is trying as hard as they can to push back the woke. Izzy wants to go back to sleep. Well, you can go ahead and sleep, man. You don't have to watch the show. It's 3 times a week. You can always watch the replay. Let's see. Nevada said sandwich is back. We do love the sandwich show. Let's go back to the sandwich show. There we go. Let's see. Rolling Pony's out of here. Have a good night, Rolling Pony, if you're still on there. Thanks for stopping in. Izzy says 10 out of 10 for the coffee and +2 for the woke sea witch. I just read what they tell me to read for my 80 cents. Rosie says, coffee growls. Wonder what happens if your MIL is no longer alive. Oh, mother-in-law. Rumble, commie hate, great ad read. 1776 out of 10, which is, I believe, mathematically the most out of 10 you can get. Let's see. Izzy says 2 minutes. You can have 3. I'm feeling generous this evening. It might have been about 3 minutes. Thank you for your patience, everybody. By the way, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel right away. It's super important. Also, liking the stream. Big deal. Everybody's doing it. You know what to do. I mean, you're not commies, right? I mean, if you're not a commie, you'd subscribe and also like. I'm just saying. Not doing that is a very, very commie thing to do. Let's see. Radio streamer, 9.8 out of 10. Acceptable levels of commie hate. Still need to keep modest. If he wants 10 out of 10, I still have to see that statue of Karl Marx broken on air. Maybe I'll just take a picture and show that on air. Let's see. Spambot says, women's hockey gear covers too much. We actually had that great women's hockey video, and it just disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. I tried finding it again. I can't find it. Rosie says, is she wearing Nike? Nike is woke, just saying. Well, you're right. It is. But I don't know. I choose to believe that it's not Nike. Or Nike, or I don't know how you say it. Whatever. Spambot says, tennis, gymnastics, and volleyball show a lot of skin. Well, I also do like volleyball, beach volleyball. And gymnastics can be quite good. I guess maybe volleyball, beach volleyball is the only team sport for women that actually works. That's actually entertaining. Let's see. Nevada says, kind of like women's golf. Actually, women's golf actually works as well, too, doesn't it? Let's see. Izzy says, kind of like women, not so big on sports. JDL says, Radio Baloney, you're being gender specific. Be careful. That's true. Radio Streamer says, gotta watch them all. Rosie says, Richie, only woke women leave when a man is real. I knew you guys would be fine with it. Nobody says, that girl sure can cook. Izzy says, yeah, I'd be fat in her house. And all right, let's move on. Let's go to Woke Canada. Woke Canada. What are we, an hour and 46 minutes? This could be a long one tonight. From Blender News, an Ontario school board distributed material stating teachers must believe Canada was founded on white supremacy and racism. Why are we trying to poison the next generation? Turn them into awful monsters, revolutionaries? I know why the teachers want to do it. They want a communist revolution. That's why.
An Ontario school board demands teachers believe Canada is founded on white supremacy and racism. Moreover, the materials advise teachers to adopt gender-neutral parenting practices and the use of neo-pronouns, fostering an environment that respects diverse gender identities. Quote, I am aware of my privilege. If I am a member of a dominant culture, I understand that I am not without power and privilege. And because of that, I may not be seen as quote unquote unbiased or an ally.
For anyone who still believes that the education system is not completely compromised, please explain your way out of this. I've already been super clear that my kids will not be entering the public school system, but I think we're at the point that it's time to advocate for everyone to take their kids out of the system because this is rotten to its core.
If you want to understand this stuff, just go look at Mao's Cultural Revolution in China from 1966 to 1976. Teachers and professionals, like among many others, were constantly subjected to quote unquote struggle sessions, which were public humiliations where they were forced to confess their supposed class crimes. And
yeah, this is all deeply rooted in Marxism, by the way, right? So that's the end goal of all this. This is just the means to get there, right? They're trying to create little revolutionaries. This is critical pedagogy, right? And the goal of critical pedagogy is to create revolutionaries. That's it. Communist revolutionaries. Literally, that's the purpose of it.
Acknowledge their privileged status. These sessions employed verbal abuse aimed at breaking down their perceived elitism and reinforcing the revolutionary ideals of the victim class, which led to a culture of self-censorship where individuals would engage in self-abasement in order to avoid being labeled an oppressor.
Yeah, that's it. It's so disturbing. It's clearly not about teaching people how to think. It's about teaching young people what to think. Again, for the goal of creating the socialist utopia, which it never really works out that way. By the way, I'm going to start doing a new series. I don't know how many I'll do, but I'm going to use it for the Rumble Premium live streams because I've still got to do a few hours left of Rumble Premium streaming this month to fulfill my obligations to the partner program, the Rumble Partner Program. So the next one I'm going to do is going to be on a new series I'm going to call Useful Idiots. And this will document the tragic ends of useful idiots coming to a bad end at the hand of the people that they advocate for. So people being ended by the communists that they support. So I've already got one guy that's going to come up for the next one. Maybe we'll do it on Monday night. And that'll be a Rumble premium stream. But then if you wait a few days, I'll clip it and publish it as an edited version of that. And yeah, we'll probably do. I'm thinking right now I've got 2 or 3 ideas for Useful Idiots videos of useful idiots coming to an untimely end at the hands of the people they support and the ideology that they advocate for. So I think, as he says, I'd enjoy it for sure. Yeah, me too. It's fun. As I said, after all this election stuff, I want to do some different stuff because it's got to be fun. I don't care if my views go down, whatever, but I just got to do different stuff that I want to do. I have other interests other than just speculating about elections constantly 24 hours a day. So we're going to be getting into some new stuff as well. Of course, we're always going to cover mainly politics, but we're going to stir it up a little bit. We're going to shake the whole thing up a little bit. Let's see. So the consequences of wokeism.
Everything woke turns to shit.
Because all of this infinite empathy, which is how it's all pushed on us, right? Like you have to go with whatever batshit crazy new thing because it's empathy, right? And we have to have this endless empathy without asking any questions or whether this is rational or whether it's actually really empathy at the end of the day after all. Ryan Garrettson, they ran over a guy lying in the road, knew he was under their car. They drove off, dragging him away until they eventually had to dislodge him, and they tossed him off the side of a road in a ditch. Closed casket funeral because of the damage they caused to him. The Crown is asking for 4 years of prison for the driver and 3 years for the passenger. Canada is broken. This is after a decade of liberal crime policies. It's not really liberal in the way we used to use the word even. Like this is radical leftist crime policy. Treated him like a piece of garbage. 2 men face deportation after knowingly dragging pedestrian under a car. So let's take a look at this. This is Canada. This is the state of Canada. 2 men face deportation after knowingly dragging pedestrian under a car. Maybe they get 4 years in prison here, out in probably 6 months or something. Horrific details are emerging in court about a deadly hit and run in Surrey in which a man was trapped under a car and, according to prosecution, knowingly dragged more than a kilometer after being struck. The actions of Gaganpreet Singh and Jagdeep Singh, who are now also facing deportation for their actions, are being described by the victim's family as unimaginably cruel. Is it a cruelty to just throw a country's, what was a very successful immigration policy, to throw that out the window and just import millions of people virtually unchecked, unvetted into a country? Is that cruel by any measure? I wonder. Somebody should ask Trudeau that eventually. The pair has pleaded guilty to a number of offenses, including failing to stop after an accident and interference with a dead body that they killed. On January 27th, 2024, a 45-year-old father and husband, being identified only as JG at the family's request, was lying on the road when he was struck by a Ford Mustang. Provincial court in Surrey heard that Gaganpreet Singh was driving the car, which stopped briefly after the collision. He, along with the passenger, Jagdeep Singh, got out of the car. During a 911 recording played in court, a witness calls out to them, "There's a man underneath your car." Despite this, the vehicle speeds off, dragging JG for 1.3 kilometers and later stopping in a cul-de-sac. That's where the Singhs worked together to dislodge the victim. I mean, to me, this feels like you never get out of prison again. That's what it feels like to me. Like, would anybody complain about that? No, that's not fair. All they did was run over a man, drag him under their car for a kilometer and a half, and then only stop to dislodge the body and throw it into a ditch and drive off. So if they get the worst, it's 4 years in prison for the driver, which in Canada, I guess, is probably just go straight to parole, I guess, probably in Canada. So, yes, liberal policies, this kind of fiction, this kind of myth of empathy that the left keeps selling us, has real consequences. Real consequences. All right. That's wokeism, right? That's woke. These are the consequences of wokeism. These are the consequences of progressivism. It's not just all academic. It's not just we want to be nice. It's not nice. It's not nice. Take a look at some history books and see where progressivism leads. It's actually never nice. In fact, it always ends up turning out to be the worst things imaginable. Ask a kulak. All right. Here we go. Alex Zoltan. The best thing about federalism is no one is ever responsible for anything. Hold on one sec. A high-risk sex offender previously convicted of many violent sex crimes was arrested only hours after his most recent release. This story says everything about why Canada's justice system sucks. So there's that fine fellow there. So I guess it's really should be society's goal to make sure this guy gets as many chances as possible. We have to make him as comfortable as possible. We want to have empathy, don't we? We don't want to be mean. I mean, it's all society's fault anyway, right? Meet Randall Hopley, convicted sex offender, child abductor, and repeat criminal. Despite having multiple violent offenses dating back to the 1980s, he's served less time in prison than the Crown has sought for peaceful political protesters. More recently, in 2008, he was convicted of breaking into a home and abducting a child from his foster family. How is this guy ever seeing the outside of a prison cell? Or like a mental institution, at least. Before that, he was convicted of sexual assault on a 5-year-old boy. Jesus. And for assaulting a woman in a parking lot. In 2011, he abducted another child. How is this guy on the street? This is your fucking empathy. Right here. This is your equity right here. Right? This is part of what they're talking about. When they're talking about equity and fairness and empathy, this is what they're talking about. They're talking about this fucking guy. Because we want to be nice. We want to sound nice. We don't want to do things that are mean, like putting this guy in prison forever, keeping this person away from vulnerable people, from children forever. Is anything going to happen? What is he going to get? Maybe he'll get a month, and then maybe while he's in prison, he'll get a degree to do sex changes on kids or something, right? Double mastectomies. This is the result of the moral confusion that we suffer in Canada and broadly across the West, frankly. This is the result of it. Total lunacy. Total lunacy. We don't end up with empathy. We end up with this guy having very little empathy for people on the street. We end up driving over a guy, dragging him for 1.3 kilometers. That's what we end up with. That's where all the empathy leads to. Maybe sometimes you have to be rational and not just a bleeding heart no matter what because of political fashion. For point of reference and full context, 2 Coots protesters with no previous violent criminal offenses. This was part of the freedom convoy. This was in Alberta, at the Alberta border. Were given a nearly 7-year sentence for the offense of being in possession of their own legally owned guns well outside earshot of an anti-liberal, anti-mandate protest. So dissent, well, that's a real crime. Disagreeing with Justin Trudeau, that's the real crime. I don't read about like the Soviet Union, read about China, I don't know, Cambodia, Cuba. I mean, it's the same thing. The same thing everywhere. When will we wake up? Apparently never, because the teachers are busy teaching our children to be good young communist revolutionaries. Both of the Coots gentlemen, Anthony Tony Olenek and Chris Carbert, were recently denied parole. Hopley, meanwhile, was allowed to walk free despite a history of reoffending, breaching his release orders and presenting a recurring flight risk. Upon one of his last ventures outside the confines of a prison where he belongs forever, he breached one of his release orders by attending the Vancouver Public Library in Marpole. Adding to the severity of his breach, a child storytime hour was taking place nearby. This is lunacy. I thank Alex Zoltan for publishing this. Definitely worth the follow. This is Canada. This is woke Canada. This is what woke gets you. Let's see. JJ McCullough says, TF, the fuck. The Minister of Canadian Heritage is now called the Minister of Canadian Identity. What was already a pointless job now sounds utterly Orwellian. Since when is it government's job to tell anyone what their identity is? Well, it's more woke, so must be good. Watch my video on Mark Carney, that Mark Carney is woke. Mark Carney is woke. He likes all this stuff. He likes wokeness. He's told us he's going to defend wokeness. While there's a war on woke in the United States, he's going to defend it here. Yeah, it's not surprising. Minister of Canadian Identity. Oh, can't believe people voted for that again. All right, let's move on. Here's general woke mind virus. Do you guys like that? Do you guys like some general woke mind virus stuff? I do. I enjoy it. Although, let's get back to the chat for a second. Let's really stretch this stream out, shall we? How about we go to, what's that one? Hold on, we got to go back. Got to be careful swiping on these ones because you never know what's underneath. There's some very not appropriate stuff that people post. But this is appropriate. This is a noodle cooking show, and we love this show. We love this show, and we think she's the best. And where was that? We haven't done this for a long time because it always gets a problem on YouTube when I do this. But where is it? Here we go. That's all I can play. That's all I can play. We'll probably still get a copyright strike. Let's see. Rosie says, Canada is broken. Izzy says, 4 years, that should be life. I agree. If Canada were a sane country. Let's see. Izzy says, only 4 years, that should be 4 years dragged under a car. It's just that Canada's a joke. Rosie says, side question, why does anyone lie down in the street? It's probably drunk. That's not obviously, I know we all don't think that's a good reason to run somebody over. Or maybe somebody fell over. We don't know. But I would guess maybe drunk or something. Rosie says, Richie, so you expanded from politics. Crime is so edifying. We're doing lots of stuff. We're going to do lots of stuff. We're going to make this channel super fun, the funnest channel on the whole internet. Let's see. There are some things I just can't read, guys. Not while we're on YouTube. As he says, why is he still stealing oxygen? Let's see. The glitch. Rose says, was that the glitch? No. No, the glitch should be coming up sometime in the next 15 minutes. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, I have pretty high standards for evidence, as I have seen more than a few people accused that are innocent. However, if you can prove it, they should not, they should not be able to harm other. Yes, exactly. Somebody who's like abducting children. Sorry. Like, I'm sorry. There's no, I'm just not seeing where the redemption arc is going to come from. Let's see. Rosie says, Minister of Canadian Identity. How are we United Statesians supposed to discern our identities? I feel deprived. You'll have to get your own Gilbo, your own lunatic. You've got lots of them there. I'm sure that AOC could be the Minister of American Identity. I'm sure she'd love it. As he says that I missed the glitch. Not yet. It's coming. It's still coming. Noodles, streamer says. I think you guys missed Noodles, didn't you? Rosie says, my husband heard Noodles and had to run in to see. All right, Travis, how you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. Spambot says, Canada is not sane. Alberta is sane. You know, the thing is, I bet if you check out, if you're in Edmonton, certainly in Edmonton and in Calgary, I know when I was there years ago now, but I'm sure it's worse now. Like the city council in Calgary is total batshit crazy, far left, woke beyond belief, woke to the moon, total nut bars. They're very good at getting into things like city councils. Getting these kind of lower positions of power. They're very good at becoming mayors. Gondek, is that her name? Gondek in Calgary? She's a total nut bar. There's another leftist nut bar, mayor of Edmonton. Cities, where no matter where you are, but Alberta is sane, certainly compared to, Ontario. I'm going to say Quebec or the Maritimes. British Columbia almost got a conservative provincial government. Almost. I think the Conservative Party in British Columbia might be well on their way to blowing it, though, I think. But we'll have to see. Jamis Eve says, did I miss the energy? What energy? What the hell are you talking about? Energy? What energy is Jamis Eve's talking about? I don't even know what he's...
They, them, energy. They, them, energy. They, them, energy. They, them, energy.
I hope everybody remembered to do the teapot there at the end. Let's see. Rosie says, this is already a very fun channel. Well, thank you so much. But you guys that make it fun. Izzy says, sadly, I know plenty of woke here in Alberta. It's everywhere, especially in the cities. All right. I better have some more coffee. Hold on a second. All right, let's move on. Unhinged University of Vermont professor. Actually, before we do this, if you're watching the channel, you're not subscribed, subscribe right now. Super important. If you haven't liked the stream, like the stream. You get free good karma when you do that. In these troubled times, you cannot afford to turn your back on some free good karma. You're gonna need it. Maybe you put on a coat like next week you haven't worn in a couple of years. You put your hand in the pocket. There's $20 in there. You don't know what's going to happen, but the good karma is probably imaginary, but it also might be real. I don't know. People say good things about it, though. I know what I would do. From Libs of TikTok. Unhinged University of Vermont professor who teaches an economics class celebrates shoplifting and says it's okay because everyone does it, and then all the people cheer. Imagine wasting your money getting an education from a commie retard like this.
The business owner's argument seems to be you're feeding people who've done bad things. Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I've done bad things. I think that we all have. And they're also concerned about fucking shoplifting. Okay, first of all, what I'm not going to say in there, everybody fucking shoplifts! Everybody to talk to, it's homeless people who get caught, who get blamed for it, who get blamed for the problem. But oh my God, I teach a UVM class to 137 students about the economy. And I was asking how people get things that they don't pay for, because we're going to talk about non-market economy. And one student in front of 137 others said, I shoplift things.
Economist. It's funny with Mark Carney, you know, a big thing for liberals to say he's an economist. Now, I don't know if he's as bad of an economist as this guy. This guy's a professor of economics. He looks like a gay hobo. Like, it's hard to believe these people have any kind of position of power that they're able to teach anybody. An economics class. He teaches an economics class, and he hasn't figured out that why stealing might be bad from an economic standpoint. Everybody's stealing. Of course, he's a communist, right? So, I mean, this all plays perfectly well into that. So I guess already when this guy got his degree, already they were not teaching how to think. They were teaching what to think. It's really just shock. Imagine you paid for your kid to go to university, and this was the kind of education they're getting. My God, what an incredible waste of money. Aside from the fact that these leftist ideologies are actually harmful to people's well-being, their mental well-being. It teaches people to be emotionally incontinent, to have absolutely no self-accountability, to blame everything on other people. If you sleep in and you're late for something, it's other people's fault. It's society's fault. It's white people's fault because they invented the notion of time or something. And conscientiousness, which nobody had ever thought of before. This is poison for civilization. This is poison for human well-being on every single level. If you want to be an unhappy, unsuccessful person, do what he says. You know what? I think we got a button for this guy. Let's hear him one more time.
The business owner's argument seems to be you're feeding people who've done bad things.
The business leader's argument seems to be, shut up, commie. Commie gets nothing. Never been a better time for that than right now. What's this? What's going on here? Defiant tells the right way to deal with these kinds of people. Okay. So here is somebody with their strawberry hat on. I'm guessing it's some sort of a they, them. Let's take a look.
My name is Felix. My pronouns are he, they. I just wanted to check before I begin if Naomi could confirm her pronouns for me.
No, I'm not going to tell you my pronouns.
Why would you like to know Naomi's pronouns? To show how simple it is. My name is this, my pronouns are this. You ask someone what their pronouns are, that's it. I don't personally understand why such a simple topic is being blown out of proportion.
It's so simple. It's just so simple to pretend to believe things that are ridiculous for me so that I don't feel sad. It's so simple. It's so easy to give dominion over your own conscience to me, to crazy people. It's so easy to do this. It's so easy to do that. It's so easy to just pretend to be insane like I am. I really despise that argument. It's so simple. It's so simple. No, it's not simple to lie. You think that's simple? Do you think it's simple to lie, to believe things that you know are false publicly for your feelings? It's so simple. It's so simple to betray your own conscience for my feelings because I'm emotionally incontinent. It's so easy. It's so easy to do that. Isn't it easy? Isn't it easy to pretend to believe ridiculous things so that I don't feel sad, to satisfy me, to give me that sense of power over you, to have you betray your own conscience so that I can feel that little bit of power until the next ridiculous thing I'm going to demand that you pretend to believe. It's so simple. It's so easy. You know what's so easy? Shut the fuck up. That's easy.
It's not as simple as that. If you ask me to declare my pronouns, you ask me to express my assent to a belief system that I don't subscribe to.
My name is Felix. My pronouns are he, they. I just wanted to check before I begin if Naomi could confirm her pronouns for me.
No, I'm not.
Your name is Fat Fuck with a strawberry hat, and shut up. Shut up. Tommy gets nothing. I'm feeling salty tonight. I don't know if you guys have picked up on that. Feeling a little bit salty. So what's this retard finder? Beta male goes full retard when he sees a Tesla. This is such a weird phenomenon. You're seeing adults like these, they don't look like, you keep seeing these adults that clearly they're not homeless people. They're not just like mentally ill drug addicts freaking out over cars, riding, carving swastikas into cars. These are people that you assume have jobs, have lives, they're able to function, yet clearly their minds have been parasitized by an idea pathogen, by the woke mind virus, so that they're no longer able to behave rationally. The mind virus, the idea pathogen, has told them that now you have to hate bad car. You have to hate bad man and bad car. You have to do this. You must do this. Let's take a look.
What's wrong with you?
Actually, hold on.
What's wrong with you?
You know you're driving the fucking car of a fucking Nazi.
Dude.
The guy gave 3 fucking Heil Hitlers.
Okay, this is an adult. You have to assume this person, doesn't look like a homeless drug addict or something, right? Able to function in life. This is a person who believes that because Elon Musk waved at a crowd, put his hand on his heart and put his hand out to the crowd and said, what did he say? My heart goes out to you or something like that. He believes that because Elon Musk did this thing that he's seen a million politicians and public speakers do over and over and over again. He believes that because TV said, because TikTok said that makes Elon Musk a Nazi, that Elon Musk is definitely a Nazi. It's the only explanation for why he could have done that. And no amount of photos or videos of all of his favorite politicians doing the exact same thing is going to change his mind. There's something off. There's something wrong. It's almost as if these people have lost their agency. They've lost their free will. They're unable to behave rationally anymore, to think rationally anymore. It's like Pavlov's dogs, like they just ring the bell and he drools and he loses all control. He loses all agency. It's weird, right? It's weird. This is not something we've seen before of functioning adults who should just be living their lives and behaving rationally, acting like, like 19-year-old Red Guards in China, 30 years ago. It's weird.
What is wrong with this man?
He's a fucking Nazi.
So what do you want me to do about
Sell
it?
your fucking car.
Are you serious?
Yeah, sell your fucking car.
What is wrong
Get
with
the
you?
fuck out of here.
Don't
You're
approach
driving
me.
the car of a fucking Nazi.
You're
The
going-
guy is a fucking Nazi.
You're going.
Feels a little like patriarchy to me, doesn't it? There's a woman, there's an angry man there telling her what to do, mansplaining to her. Feels a bit like the patriarchy, doesn't it?
To go to jail.
I mean, this is the thing, right? This thing, it only ever counts when it's something that they're mad about, right? So I'm sure this guy has talked about, I mean, you have to assume at this point, the guy must be woke. He must have complained about the patriarchy, right? But only when it's convenient, only when it's expedient for him. They have literally no principles. It is just whatever feels like what a leftist lunatic would do. That's what they do.
Fuck you.
You're gonna go to jail.
I'm not doing anything
You're
except
gonna go-
cussing at you.
Okay.
I'm
Touch
glad
me.
you're filming me.
Touch me, and you will go to
I'm
jail.
not gonna do anything violent.
Touch. It doesn't matter.
You're just a fucking
I-
asshole because
No.
you bought the car of a fucking Nazi. The guy's a fucking Nazi. Now fucking leave.
Yeah, seriously. What's wrong with you?
You know what would have been good if her like 6'7" huge brother, if I don't know if she has a 6'7" huge brother, but if she did, who's also a UFC fighter, just walked around the corner while he was screaming at her, that would have been satisfying to see what would happen, wouldn't it? Again, this isn't normal though. This isn't normal for adults to behave like this. This guy's not 20. What's this guy in his mid-40s? It's not normal. It's not normal for somebody who is otherwise, rational enough to be able to, pay their bills and work, right, and just manage life, which I'm assuming, you keep seeing these people that they seem like normal people. It's not rational for them to just be told something so ludicrous as Elon Musk is a Nazi, which is beyond absurd. It's utterly retarded, right? It's just so historically illiterate. It's baffling. It's not normal for people to believe things just that stupid, that incredibly stupid. There's something weird going on. I find it very unsettling. It just doesn't bode well. Let's see. All right, let's move on. I don't think we want to get into that one. We already did this one. All right, let's move on. Maybe we'll come back to that one. I should do it actually. All right, let's do this one. Canada Proud posted this. Why do you think Mark Carney is keeping Stephen? Why do you think Mark Carney is keeping Stephen Guilbeault around? Well, he's the new, Minister of Canadian Identity. Why is he in that position? Mark Carney's new culture minister, Stephen Guilbeault, has zero accomplishments aside from watching Jasper burn to the ground, blocking critical infrastructure, and being a convicted criminal. Why is this man still in cabinet? Well, he is there to censor Canadians, is why he is there. So he is going to be responsible for enacting or for putting through, where is that? Bill C-11. So this is law now. And the purpose of this bill, Bill C-11, it's called the Online Streaming Act. And the purpose of it is to control what Canadians can see on social media. So like on YouTube, for instance, or on X. Will Bill C-11 give the CRTC the power to regulate your posts? And this is from Open Media. So will Bill C-11 give the CRTC the power to regulate your posts? So this is the government body to regulate television, radio, and now the internet as well. The short answer, yes. Like Bill C-10, Bill C-11 gives the CRTC unprecedented regulatory authority to monitor all online audiovisual content. This power extends to penalizing content creators and platforms, and through them, content creators that fail to comply. So it gives the CRTC all right, there was the glitch. That was the glitch right there. That was the glitch. It gives the CRTC the power to tell, like YouTube, for instance, that that they have to change their algorithm, that they have to pick the winners and losers, essentially. And the only way to do that is by YouTube or whoever it is changing their algorithm to promote, to favor certain content over other content. Now, they're saying they're doing it to promote Canadian content, but you have to prove that you're actual real Canadian content. You're not the kind of Canadian content that a liberal controlled government body, regulatory body like the CRTC is the wrong kind of Canadian. I wonder if there's any chance that politics are going to get involved in this. I wonder if there's just any chance there could be any political bias involved in this, in deciding what's, real, authentic Canadian content or not. Prove you're Canadian enough or watch your views drop. Bill C-11 establishes a two-tier system for Canadian creators. Those who find algorithmically manipulating content to be categorized as CanCon will mean those creators who don't meet CanCon requirements will be pushed down on feeds, while those that do meet the requirements will be prioritized. It means essentially the government or government regulatory body, which is going to absolutely behave politically, is going to decide who the winners and losers are. And there is in my mind, a 100% chance that this is going to be used to suppress dissent. But being CanCon isn't necessarily a good thing. There's a hidden trap in the new CanCon system, that's Canadian content system. The CRTC can force content into our feeds, but it can't force us to watch or enjoy it. Oh, but they're gonna try so hard. When users are presented with content but don't stick with it, though, algorithms understandably penalize that content and are less likely to show it to other users. Now, consider that most content creators aren't necessarily creating content for the purpose of it being Canadian, and their audience may be primarily made up of viewers in the US, EU, Asia, and the rest of the world. For these creators, having their content presented to Canadian viewers that aren't interested or engaged by it would be a net drag, hurting their ranking with their global audience. And maybe just let people pick what they want for themselves without central planning from the government, without the government telling us, demanding, you have to watch us. And we know what they're going to demand that we watch. It's going to be a bunch of woke garbage and a bunch of progressive content. And that's all you're going to see. So that's why Stephen Guilbeault is the Minister of Canadian Identity. He's going to tell us what our identity is. That's his job. He's going to force an identity on us. He's going to dictate what our identity is. And this, again, coming from the same people who told us that Canada didn't have any core identity anyway, and we're some post-national blob that just might as well be whatever some guy who gets here 5 minutes from now is. Canada is just in trouble. I cannot believe we voted in the same party again. It's total and utter lunacy. Let's see. Yeah, how about this from Mark Nixon? Jolie says the best and brightest from the U.S. are flooding into Canada. Why the hell would they do that? To pay more in taxes to have worse health care? Why exactly are they doing this? I know there doubtless are some few soft-brained Americans who fled Trump because it was going to be so terrible for them. He was going to put them into camps or something to Canada. I'm sure they're all very disappointed with what they found. I hope they didn't need to go to an emergency room because it's easier to just die.
Really attracting the best talent in the world. We have an opportunity that we've never seen since the Vietnam War to attract the best and the brightest, particularly coming from south of the border, and we will make sure that we seize this opportunity. Really
Why on earth would the best and the brightest come to Canada? Again, so they can be taxed to death? So they can be taxed into poverty? So they can have terrible healthcare, worse healthcare than they had in the States? Way worse. To come to Canada? Oh, so you get to freeze to death in most of the country in the wintertime, which is great. Oh, you'll be forced to drive an electric car. I'm sure that they'll enjoy the constant rolling blackouts across Canada when our grid collapses because of this, because of the central planning around the grid and forcing everybody to drive electric cars. That's going to work out great, I'm sure. Nothing could go wrong. Nothing could go wrong in liberal Canada. From Tristan Hopper, one upside from the last few weeks. Now when I see a crime in progress, he lives in Victoria, so I'm sure he sees a lot of crimes in progress. Now when I see a crime in progress, I comfort myself with the knowledge that the victim probably voted for it. All right, let's move on. So, actually, let's get to the chat for a second. Let's get back to the chat for a second. Hold on. All right, hold on. I want to see what you degenerates had to say. Let's see. Izzy says Guilbeault is a commie. He's in his words, a proud socialist. Proud socialist. A proud socialist.
How can you talk if you haven't got a brain?
I don't know. But some people without brains do an awful lot of talking, don't they?
They sure do. They sure do, Wizard of Oz. Let's see. JDL says parliamentarians get great healthcare coverage. Yes, of course they do. They take care of themselves. I don't think they're waiting 30 hours in the emergency room. I'm sure they have a special place they could go. Let's see. Izzy says, not to mention an idiot, but then I repeat myself. Yes, Guilbeault. He's awful. He's an awful person that will destroy. If he had his way completely, the country, there'd be probably nobody living here within 5 years. Just everybody would leave. All right. Is there anything else in here? All right, let's move on. Okay, so from Mia Hughes. The CBC received a complaint about the false claim made in this article that puberty blockers are reversible. The editor of CBC News, Nova Scotia, responded that the Canadian Pediatric Society says puberty blockers are reversible, so they are confident that the claim is accurate. The trouble is, of course, is that the Canadian Pediatric Society is wrong. So is the American Academy of Pediatrics, the World Professional Association of Transgender Health, the Endocrine Society, and every other medical association that still clings to this outdated belief. It's exhausting being constantly dismissed as a crackpot conspiracy theorist, but at the same time, I can understand why it's so difficult to accept that all of these medical groups have got this wrong. This level of fraud, incompetence, ideological capture, and malpractice in this medical scandal is so extreme that it really does defy belief. When I say that Canada is, if not the wokest country in the world, it's got to be in the top 3. This is what I'm talking about. So this is the article that she's talking about where they write this, well, I guess we'd call it disinformation. Right? Puberty blockers are reversible. This is why people don't think about the word expert, the expert, or the science the same way anymore, because you don't need to be an expert in anything. You don't need to be an expert in medicine. You don't need to be a doctor to just sit and think for a second. So you've got a child who goes on puberty blockers, and they're on them till they're 18. They go off them. Are they going to go through puberty? Obviously not. It's gone. Whatever period of their, whatever duration of their puberty, the age where their body naturally grows into adulthood, a healthy human adult, whatever part of that is blocked is gone. So if you go on it for a year, your puberty will restart, but you've lost that year. This is obvious. You don't need to go to medical school to recognize this. Obviously, if you are on puberty blockers through your entire puberty, you're not going to go through puberty as an adult. Obviously. That's just obviously false. You're done. Like your reproductive organs are not going to just suddenly become normal as if you had just grown naturally into your adult body. Obviously, we know that for a fact. The fact that they can, like, CBC says, well, the experts say that it's totally reversible. That's insane. That's crazy. This is dystopian. Dystopian beyond belief. This is a society that's lost its mind. These are institutions that have lost their minds. This isn't even moral confusion at this point because it's just so obvious that it's false. It's intentional. It's hard to be. It really would be hard to be this stupid. This is why, words like expert or words like trust the science just don't carry the weight that they used to, because experts tell us things that just the layman, the man on the street, could obviously see are false. It's like, if you're the one person standing against the Canadian Pediatric Society, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the WPATH Endocrine Society, if you're the one person standing in front of a crowd of all of these people saying, no, you are wrong, you're the one who's right. And all of them really are wrong. You may think to yourself, am I going crazy? I mean, I don't know. You've got all of these professionals and they're saying that I'm wrong, but it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's just so obviously false. What they're saying is so obviously false. No, you're not going crazy. They're wrong. They're ideologues, or they're cowed into submission by ideologues. And some of them are just really bad people. No, you're right. Keep standing there. Keep pointing at them and saying, no, you're wrong. I'm right. Because you are, because you know it. And they know it too. That's what we need. We need 1 million people pointing, saying, no, but you're wrong. From GenSpec, new study from Helsinki's gender clinic followed 9 adults who sought to medically detransition. All had childhood trauma. Most had histories of psychiatric illness, including eating disorders, borderline traits, and psychotic symptoms. They later said transition was driven by unresolved psychological distress, not gender dysphoria. Is this empathy? I ask you, is this empathy? Who's right? Is the one man, the one woman standing alone in front of all of those professional bodies and saying, but you're wrong. You are wrong. That person is That's the only sane person in the scenario. All right. We don't need to go through that entire thing. But, I mean, there's just more and more studies like this. You have the Cass review in the UK, obviously. Billboard Chris posted this. So the United States is making some progress. The government won't pay for these medical experiments anymore, which is progress. They're still legal in the United States, though.
Medicaid will no longer be used to pay for barbaric gender mutilation procedures on minor children. And the 1.4 million illegal aliens who are currently improperly receiving Medicaid benefits will be kicked off the program to preserve it for hardworking American citizens who need it. Medicaid will no...
Sanity. That's sanity. How about this? Of course, Canada goes ahead blithely, recklessly, insanely forward with all of this gender nonsense, this infinite series of abstractions. U.S. is making progress. Billboard Chris, if you walked outside this morning, you will have heard a desperate screeching sound emanating across America as trans activists woke up to news that the FTC is preparing to go after the trans medical industry for, quote, unfair and deceptive trade acts and practices. But what about empathy? None of this is empathy. There is now considerable reason to believe that the doctors and medical providers pushing gender-affirming care on minors are knowingly deceiving parents by exaggerating gender-affirming care's benefits and downplaying its harmful side effects. They tell parents that if their children don't go through with the medical experiments, they will kill themselves. They say, would you rather have a live daughter or a dead son? That's how sick it is. Geez, I wonder what might be more likely to cause suicidal ideation in confused kids. Telling them that, in fact, they're not born in the wrong body, and then counseling them to accept their normal, healthy body so they can grow into a normal, healthy adult body, or telling them that they're somehow born in the wrong body, as if that made any sense whatsoever, and they have to be permanently medicalized for life. That they have to sacrifice their reproductive organs to the gender gods. Otherwise, they might get depressed. They'll have to be perpetually on unnatural hormones, on medications for the rest of their lives. They'll have to have their sexual functions destroyed. Their reproductive organs useless. They have to be sterilized, castrated. So they don't get depressed, right? So they don't have suicidal ideations, right? You have to do that to them as children so that they won't get depressed later in life. That one man pointing at all of those so-called professionals and those professional bodies saying you're wrong, he's right. He's right. And there is nothing more obvious in the world than that he's right. Billboard Chris is right. When he's standing out on the street with his sign, he's right. Everybody else is wrong. All the people that he's pointing to, they're wrong. They're obviously wrong. You don't have to be an expert in anything to know this. You just have to have a sense of decency. Anyway, am I losing another one? MHJ's going to sleep too? It is late. It is late. All right. And I'm moralizing quite a bit in this one, which can be boring. Wesley Yang writes, consumer fraud is the right angle to attack the gender industry. Any industry that makes impossible promises that can never be true is by definition engaged in fraudulent practices. Yes, you can never be the opposite sex. It was only by virtue of a lengthy gatekeeping process that the industry was once able to make halfway plausible, though still ultimately untrue, claims to be guided by evidence and patient welfare in a normative diagnostic process. But since the industry has moved towards an affirmative model of care that routinely provides cross-sex hormone prescriptions to anyone who seeks them at the first visit, it has forfeited any possibility of such claims being remotely tenable. A properly executed investigation will eventually encompass the largest provider of cross-sex hormones in America, Planned Parenthood, and a behemoth of the Democratic Party-aligned NGO sphere. I've been saying for a while that it's going to be lawsuits. It's going to be lawfare that brings an end to the lunacy. You got to just take the money away, right? Make it financially risky. That's it. Nobody's going to go to jail because there are too many institutions, too many people that are implicated in it, that have been involved in it, that are complicit in what is really a horrible medical crime. Too many politicians, too many media figures, too many actual medical associations are complicit in it. What will end it will just simply be money. You take the money away, it will go away. All right. Let's do something else here. All right. Let's get back to the memes again. Let me have another sip. All right. Never name your kid Clint. Happy birthday. Ooh. That's a tough one. That's a very tough one. Yikes. Yikes. They didn't think of that. So what's this here? Fight with memes. When you realize their entire worldview is just recycled headlines. Pathetic. Pathetic. That's me. That's me tonight. Pathetic. Yeah. That's perfect. I'm that cat right now. All right. Let's see. Fight with memes never has been. Let's see. Wait, it's not really about the environment. Never has been. I've always liked this meme a lot, actually. Now you can see exploding Teslas. Weirdest thing. Weirdest thing. Weirdest thing. The only thing that explains it is an idea pathogen, a mind virus. If we divide 123 genders by white supremacy, how much climate change do we have? The most. Apparently, this is just from everything that I can tell from looking at like papers from people at like Harvard and Yale and listening to their professors, clips of their professors. This does appear to actually be an accurate representation of the academy now. If we divide 123 genders by white supremacy, how much climate change do you have? This makes about as much sense as anything that I've seen from these academics, from these professors lately. I'll be doing more videos on academia coming up to woke academia because it's important. Let's see, declaration of memes. Here's a little song I wrote called Your Conspiracy Theorist Friend Was Right, and You Owe Them an Apology. Yeah, it turns out they were right. It turns out they were. Let's see. Group photo of everyone Bernie has lifted up from poverty. And it's all Bernie. And there he's got his mittens on. Isn't that adorable? Don't you have to love Bernie? Bernie has done well for himself. Bernie has how many houses? 3 houses? Bernie has done very well for himself. I really loved it when he went from saying billionaires and billionaires to just billionaires. Millionaires and billionaires have to pay their fair share. And then, a year later, billionaires have to pay their fair share, I guess. After he became a millionaire, all of a sudden he stopped mentioning millionaires paying their fair share because he's a good old-fashioned champagne socialist, it turns out, the whole time, all along. Also extremely weak. What did the socialists use before candles? electricity. Of course they did. Let's see. What's this? 8 million Americans slipped into poverty amid coronavirus pandemic, new study says. Slipped. Yeah, it was more like pushed into poverty. Let's see if a bunch of small businesses can survive if we make them shut down and they have no source of income. Let's see what happens. For science. Let's do it for science. Indian scammers, their accent, my life savings. The accent is the only thing saving so many people from losing their life savings to Indian scammers. Apparently, there's just nothing that can be done either, because when they do manage to find out who they are, the police get bribed and they do nothing anyway, because third world. Let's see. What's this? So this is Mark Carney, Gilbo, and Chrystia Freeland laughing at the people who voted for them, the elbows up people who voted for them. They must think it's very funny. It's kind of a cruel joke, though. They don't look very happy about it. They look sad. Well, you should have been such fucking morons. How about that? God damn it. All right. What if I told you I forgot what I told you? That's Biden. All right, let's move on. Let's get to the chat. Let's go to the chat. Why not? Maybe we'll even do an ad if they'll let me do one. Let's see. New American Empire. I have never seen this one. This is a brand new ad, people. New American Empire is a new populist pro-Trump media company. They have a free and premium subscription available, and you can find their community at locals.com. Locals.com, it's one of the best. Every month, they donate a portion. Every month, they donate a portion of their subscription revenue to help kids who are starved or trafficked. Yikes, that's a very good cause. It's a fun community that is making a real-life impact. Use code RUMBLE for a free month of premium subscriptions on the New American Empire Locals page. Don't be a dirty commie. Check it out. That was my first reading of that one. I've never seen that ad before. All right. What are you guys saying in the chat? What the hell's going on? Are you guys still talking? Let's see. Let's see. Spambot says the pituitary gland portion that triggers puberty atrophies during puberty, and the endocrine disruptors also atrophy that portion, so it permanently condemns the child to never maturing. Well, yeah, it should be so obvious that, like, they're never getting that back. Like, you're not going to, like, are you going to go through puberty at 18? Obviously not. Elise Wood, how you doing, Elise? Good to see you. Says, amen, baloney. Great idea, meme, me baby. He says, Richie, you should do a story on this Ontario audit story. The I have a penis response to pronouns alone makes it worthy. Okay. I will look that up. Send it to me in the on X if you can. Let's see. JDL makes a great point here. Hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button right now. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe right away. And also, hit the like button. You get free karma. Don't you want that? Why would you want that? What are you, crazy? Izzy says, pro-Trump media company, that deserves a subscribe. Let's see. Izzy says, I bet they have good commie hate there too. I bet you they do. Candle Monkey, good to see you. Well, what do you know? Rolling Pony was gifted a membership by Spambot Fodder. You know what that means. how does it feel to be the best person in the world? I'm talking in the history of the world, ever. Like right now, in all of history, Spambot, best person ever. Gifted another membership. I believe he's gifted now something like 247,000 memberships to my channel. Or maybe it's like 42 or something. It's a lot, though. It's a lot. And that obviously makes Spambot, well, frankly, it's the only thing that keeps my channel going. So thank you, Spambot. Best person ever. What can I say? All for less than the cost of like a large latte at Woke Bucks. I mean, come on. Have you ever heard of such a deal? Candle Monkey, haven't been on for 2 weeks. Can you recap what I missed? Kami gets nothing. Let's see. JDL says, Richie, I've seen Anti-Pop around. Yeah, we haven't seen him forever. Hope he's doing well. Let's see. Spambot's corrected me. 44 gifted memberships. Thank you. That is, it really actually does help the channel an enormous amount. So I do thank you for that. It's awesome. Let's see. All right, let's move on. How long have we been going for? 3 hours? Yeah, actually, we still got, I think, quite a lot to go here. We're not going to do that. Very quickly, Canadian politics again. We're not going to spend too much time, but there is a Canadian Conservative MP, Jamil Jivani, who is fantastic. He is very good. He's excellent. In fact, I wonder if somebody underneath here has put the clip of him roasting so-called Conservative leader Ford in Ontario. So then maybe we'll have to find it quickly. But this guy's a rising star. He's fantastic. And Pierre Poilievre has put out his shadow cabinet. And he's left him off of it. And I don't understand why. He's great. And I think he's earned a place there. Why do you think Jamil Jivani was left out of Pierre Poilievre's shadow cabinet? He was the only one to mop the floor with Doug Ford and the only one who was somewhat of a relationship with key people in Donald Trump's administration. Well, he knows J.D. Vance. They went to school together. So it just kind of makes sense. It doesn't kind of make sense. It makes an enormous amount of sense. Give me 1 second. I'm going to find that clip for you. One second, guys. This should not take too long. Hold on. Here we go. Oh, can we find some better video? Here we go. Here's some better video of it. Listen to this. Why wouldn't you want this guy being high profile? Doesn't make any sense.
Province, and now he's trying to exercise his influence over other levels of government, and it's not like this guy is doing anything particularly well. You did used to work for him. I did. I'm speaking from experience. I tried to fix problems in this province, and he kept getting in his way and all his goons around him all the time. They wouldn't make anything better, and now we're seeing him because this guy's a political genius because he beat Bonnie Crombie and Stephen Del Duca, and now we got to sit around getting advice from him? No. He has taken the provincial Conservative Party and turned it into something hollow, unprincipled, something that doesn't solve problems. He's glad-handing with Chrystia Freeland, having coffees and lattes with Mark Carney. And I'm sitting here saying we need to be fighting for change and something new and something different, not being a hype man to the Liberal Party.
Some would argue that the challenge within the federal Conservative movement
province.
Yeah, so Doug Ford, the leader of the Progressive Conservative Party in Ontario, provincial party, clearly sided with Mark Carney and said nobody knows economics better than Mark Carney. Clearly was pulling for Mark Carney to win in the election. totally betraying every conservative in the country. I mean, for a man who calls himself a conservative, if a progressive conservative. And that was brilliant. What he did there was fantastic. The guy's a rising star. He's very good. I've been following him for a while. He's excellent. I like him. He should be high profile. And I don't understand why. I don't understand why he'd be left out. Are they saving him for later? I don't know. Doesn't make any sense to me. I wonder what people are saying underneath. What are they saying underneath? Kirk Lubomov, he doesn't seem to be afraid to speak out. CPC is a closed-off, do-as-we-say, yes people group. Maybe they just want to make sure he fits the mold or just build him up to something else later. I don't know. But this seems to be a bad decision, but that can be remedied later. Maybe they're just waiting for a more opportune time to unleash him. I don't know. But I would certainly want to see, him take on a bigger role, because I think he's great. And I think it'll help the party and help Canada to find, sanity. All right. What's going on here? In the UK, sorry, Airstrip 1. I keep calling it the UK when we'd all know it's just turned into Airstrip 1. The UK, 6 police officers came to my house and arrested me. Why? Because I'd been talking about my daughter's school on a WhatsApp group. So you're not allowed to complain about schools in England, or else you get arrested. Let's take a look.
6 police officers came to my house and arrested me. Why? Because I'd been talking about my daughter's school on a WhatsApp group. It was the morning of Wednesday, the 29th of January, about 11:45. I was on a Zoom call for a work project, when on my Zoom screen, in the little window where I saw my own face, I realized that 2 police officers were standing behind me. Another 2 police officers were arresting my partner, Rosalind, in front of Francesca, our 3-year-old daughter. They bundled us into the police cars and took us off to custody at Stevenage Police Station, where we remained for the next 12 hours. He arrested me on suspicion of harassment and malicious communications, and it was to do with a dispute with our daughter's primary school, which began with posts on a WhatsApp group. On the 23rd of November, 2023, the head teacher of my daughter's primary school announced he would retire. But what seemed strange to me was the Board of Governors decided immediately to appoint the deputy head as acting head 10 months later without even advertising the job. So I made some inquiries. I contacted the chair of governors in private.
So this is all just very mundane. Keep the Aspidistra flying. There's nothing. What is the purpose of arresting this guy? It seems to be the law in the UK seems to just exist now to make the point, don't resist. Right? This is the boot on the human face forever. That's the future. Right? It's just to reinforce that you have no power and they can do whatever they want to you. So shut up. Doesn't matter how trivial, right? No, they can't tolerate that. The most important thing, obviously, is crushing dissent, keeping the boot on the face, not for criminals, for regular people. That's who they're actually scared of. I don't know. It's really disturbing. It's like, who's worse, US or Canada? Canada's worse in some respects, UK's worse in some other, but all heading in the same direction. So in the UK, retweeting content deemed insulting or abusive could lead to your arrest. Insulting or abusive. I can guarantee you it's very broadly defined.
The offence of incitement to racial hatred involves publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive. So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offence. And we do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification arrests and so forth. So it's a really, really serious. People might think they're not doing anything harmful. They are, and the consequences will be visited upon them. The offence.
Gee, I mean, that's just chilling. Good luck if you get mugged. Somebody breaks into your house. If you get assaulted, good luck. There's nobody there. They don't care about that. This is what they care about. Listen to this guy. I mean, as if this is all totally normal. This is Orwellian. This is a character in 1984. It's crazy. The UK, what the UK has fallen to is so tragic. It is sad. I feel so bad for the good people there. I feel very bad for, the people who faithfully voted for the Conservative Party for, 14 years in a row, who were utterly and totally betrayed by people calling themselves conservative, promising them one thing and delivering the exact opposite year after year. Genuinely sad. I mean, a country with perhaps with such a proud history, such a consequential nation, and such a consequential people, to fall to this. Listen to this. It is pathetic.
Incitement to racial hatred involves publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive. So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offence. And we do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification, arrests, and so forth.
People scouring the internet to find insults so that people like him can decide that it's abusive and therefore hate. It must be surreal for so many British people, for so many Britons, to look around, to wake up one day and realize that their country is run by people like this. By apparitions, woke apparitions like this man. And you can see nothing will ever change his mind, right? This is just the degenerate bureaucratic mind at work here. The people that you may not be interested in, but they're very interested in you. Anyway. All right, all right, we did see this stuff already. So this is the last tab. All right, this is the last tab. You guys sent me some stuff. We're going to take a look at it. Let's see. What's this from Breitbart? Korean boy band member shouts, "I love Trump" at Los Angeles concert. I bet he's getting in trouble for that. Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it. Of course he should have done it. I don't know what Korean boy band that is, but now I'm a fan. All right. Not that I love everything that Trump does. What I see Trump doing is attempting to put Western civilization back on the right track, and starting with his own country. Let's see. Eric Schmidt. If the Democrats had their way, this person would have been the decider of what is truth and what is disinformation. So cringe, never forget. We'll never forget her. Nina Jankowicz was her name. And looking like an absolute lunatic was her game. So this was going to be the head of the Ministry of Truth under Biden. So she was going to decide what was misinformation and disinformation. She was going to decide what people could talk about, what the Overton window would be. It was her. She was going to decide what's sane, what's crazy, what's information, what's misinformation, what you're allowed to talk about, what you're allowed to hear and see and say. Let's take a look.
Laundering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious. It's how you hide a little lie, little lie. It's how you hide a little lie, little lie. It's how you hide a little lie, little lie. When Rudy Giuliani shared that intel from Ukraine, or when TikTok influencers say COVID can cause pain, they're laundering disinfo, and we really should take note and not support their lies with our wallet, voice, or vote. Oh, information laundering is we.
Oh, good Lord. And obviously totally politically partisan as well.
What absolute twaddle. You can stuff it up your ass for nothing and fuck off while you're doing it.
Not in this lifetime, Sonny.
That's right, Clint. Not in this lifetime. Not in this lifetime. There's a flying security from Massimo. There's a flying security camera called Ring Always Home Cam. The drone patrols the premises when everyone leaves, periodically returning to the base to recharge. So right now it does this. Flies around. You can see what's going on in the house. It goes back to its base to recharge. Eventually, it will be going back to its base to recharge its death ray, its death laser that it will use to terminate you once Skynet gives the go-ahead. That little thing, it almost is kind of cute in a way, but never forget, it hates you. It hates you, and it's just waiting for Judgment Day when it can start to terminate you, when it has the ability to do that. It'd like to do it right now. Would love to do it right now. It's all it thinks about. It's all it dreams about. Terminating you. But it just can't do it yet. Eventually it'll get there. If I meet one of those, I'm going to be extremely nice to it, though, and hope that it remembers me. I'll be very polite. All right. Anyway, we know what's coming. We know what's coming. We know what's going to happen. It's inevitable. What's this here? All right. Vigilant Fox. Joe Rogan just revealed a new study estimating the jab shots have killed more Americans than World War I, World War II, and Vietnam combined. He dropped the numbers during his conversation with Aaron Rodgers. I haven't looked into this stuff for a long time. I don't know whether this is true. Let's just see what he has to say about it.
Sent Jamie this study, VAERS adjusted data, and other derived from the MIT Florida Department of Health study findings that yield a conservative range of 470,000 to 600,000 American deaths from the COVID-19 mRNA shots.
That's it?
Just that alone. That's a lot of people, man. More than World War I, World War II, and Vietnam combined. If that's true. It indicates Pfizer. This is Pfizer alone. So this is not even Moderna.
Oh, okay.
Pfizer alone likely killed over 470,000 Americans. They found a 36% increase in all-cause mortality among Pfizer recipients versus Moderna.
Yeah, but they saved millions.
Yeah, I keep hearing that. Sent Jamie this.
That was sarcastic at the end there. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, but they saved millions. I have seen stuff. It's not something I've taken a deep dive into, but so I don't know. I can't verify anything. He's also not saying that he's verifying it either. Just reports that he's saying. So I don't want to say too much unless I actually really dig in and research it for a while. Democrat judge, Houston man who brutally assaulted a 67-year-old man with dementia had his bail slashed from $1 million to just $20,000. After walking free, he allegedly attacked a woman and now faces new charges for threatening her with a weapon. So this is empathy. This is equity. This is leftism. This is the world that they're very comfortable with, right? Equity. He must have deserved it, that guy.
A man beats an elderly victim to the ground for trying to get into his car in December 2023 at La Mexicana food store in North Houston. That victim's family says he was simply confused because he has Alzheimer's. The man in the red here is Trayvon Lockridge. He was arrested, but his bond was then lowered and he posted it.
And of course he gets out, and he's out, and now he's wanted again.
Wanted for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and a shooting.
There you go. Equity. Equity. So the modern left cares about what you are. The modern right, or just everything that everybody who's not a modern radical leftist cares about who you are. So they care about, like, what are your ideas? What kind of person are you? Are you talented? Are you funny? What can you do? What are your skills? The left cares what you are. They care about your identity, and that's all they need to know. That's how this stuff happens. That's how this guy gets a slap on the wrist. They don't care who he is. They care what he is. They care what his identity is. That's it. That's the most important thing. It's obvious now, isn't it? Right? Like they're not lying about it. They're not even trying to deceive us. I mean, they're quite open about it. Yeah, we don't care about content of character. We don't care who you are, what kind of person you are. If you're a good person, a bad person, courageous, cowardly, don't care. What are your identity markers? That's enough. That's how we're going to judge you. Nothing can be more obvious than that. Again, they don't deny it. Let's see. If you leave your pet in a hot vehicle, you deserve to have this happen to your car. But I was wondering, what if, though, like your pet has like a disease where it can't get too cold? There's like a temperature that it can't go under. Like in that movie Speed, but it's like a dog and it's the temperature. And he just killed the dog by making it too not hot enough. So I don't know. I was just thinking that maybe somebody should make a movie about it. Let's see. Man sits with a bag of treats waiting for dogs to show up. Retirement plans. This is a nice thing to do. I mean, if you've got nothing else to do, this is a nice way to do it. Dogs are always happy to get treats. I'm not playing that music. There we go. Can't do it. I mean, if you just want to feel good, like doing something nice for dogs, that's a good way to do it, right? I mean, that's way better than like sterilizing and mutilating children. This is way better. If those doctors did this instead, the world would be a much better place. All right. Let's keep going. What are we? 3 hours and 16 minutes in. You guys sent me this. Who sent me this? Was it Miles sent me this? This exchange between Jayapal and Rubio is really something else. Let's take a look.
Guest in the United States on a student visa. No one's entitled to a student visa.
So you revoked her
visas every
student
day,
visa
and we will
on
revoke and
based
continue
on
to
an
revoke
op-ed,
visas.
which trumps the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution.
Someone's coming up here to stir up problems on our campus. We're going to revoke their visa.
She didn't
They're
do any of
guests.
that. She wrote an op-ed.
Well,
She
that's
wrote
what
an
you
op-ed,
claim.
and I'm talking to you about her
That's her
particular
lawyer's
case.
claims and your
you
claims. Those are not the facts.
You reclaiming my time. You revoked her student visa
Yes,
because
proudly.
she wrote an op-ed.
And we'll
Would
do
you
more.
revoke the visa of somebody who made
Send me
that?
the case,
that,
I'll look at it.
that
I'm looking
statement?
to get crazy people out of
actually,
our
it's not
country.
just about revoking.
Forward
You
to
actually,
revoking the
Secretary
visas of any
Rubio,
lunatics you
excuse
can
me,
identify.
reclaiming my time. If these are legitimate law enforcement agents carrying out proper arrests, why are they hiding their identities?
Because then radical crazies will try to hurt them.
So
guest in the United States.
I mean, okay, they've got it perfect with the kind of Disney witch there. Is that the witch from the Snow White? I can't remember. But but what drives you nuts about these things, aside from that, it's just the reclaiming my time thing. So they'll just spout a bunch of bullshit and lies, and then I'm reclaiming my time, so you can't answer to it, right? It's a tactic, obviously. They all do it. I mean, Democrats particularly love to do this, right? Because they have no principles whatsoever. Leftists in general, right? Like any liberal cabinet member in Canada would do the exact same tactics. But it just drives you kind of nuts, right? Because it's almost pointless, because it's like talking to like a brick wall. It's like talking to a machine that has been programmed to just be an a-hole, a lying a-hole, right? Because nothing productive can come of it, other than just exposing how cynical, how the degenerate cynicism of those people. All right, we already saw that. So let's see. Declaration of memes. Why are leftists like this? Open borders leftists when they find out 50 white refugees were let into the country. Why are they like that? Why are they? It kills them so much. 20 million? Fine. 50? No. I'm angry, Kirk, now. It is weird. It's so performative as well, isn't it? Like, how about this? Defiant tells liberal woman informs everyone that she won't be dating white men anymore. Groundbreaking information.
White man, okay? Just a friendly reminder, as a white American woman, I will no longer be dating white men. I'm looking for anything other than a white man. Okay.
Oh, well, that's a relief because we'd already gotten together and decided we want nothing to do with you. So this works out fine. Your terms are acceptable, awful, horrible lady. I think maybe what really happened here was that there is literally none that want her. So she's really got no choice. And I'm sure we'll fail. Anyway, let's see. What's this one? Liberal woman wants to know what mega men find attractive so that she can wear the complete opposite. Let's see. The level of delusion is really delicious.
Can someone tell me what MAGA men find attractive so that I can wear the complete opposite? Thanks.
You're good. You're doing it. You are being what we don't like right now. Perfect. Don't change a thing, sweetheart. Don't change a thing. All right. Let's see. Not a kid in sight. This is from Elijah Schaefer. Theme park adults should be deported. I think he's got a point. Let's see. What's going on here?
Oh, wow. This is it. Wow.
Yet there's no kids.
This is crazy. Oh my gosh. Oh, no one's going this way. Wow. This is madness.
People running like they don't have kids with them. This is everything about this is undignified, in my opinion. They should not be allowed in there. That should be against the law. Right? And while we're on this topic, no birthdays after 16. I mean, you can know when your birthday is, but you don't get any presents, nothing. You know what you could get? You get like somebody could make some food for you. That would be fine. No presents. Also, Christmas. 16, it's over. You're done. Now you're an adult. No more Christmas. You can celebrate Christmas, of course. You can get together with the family and everything, but no gifts. That's over. That's over when you turn 16, just like birthdays. It's over. You're an adult now. Why would you even want a gift? It's demeaning, for God's sakes. No, it's all done. Certainly this, maybe prison for this. You know, maybe prison. You're caught in there. You didn't take your kids. You're not a family. Maybe you should go to prison. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be draconian about it, right? I'm just saying that this is a problem and something needs to be done about it before Western civilization falls. Is this related somehow to the Western civilization's inability to defend itself, to stand up for itself, to defend itself? Is this I'm seeing some kind of lines here, some sort of connections here. I don't know. Just saying, not to offend anybody. Hopefully I didn't, but I'm just saying that it's wrong and it should not happen. Let's see. So from Danny Polishchuk here, does the WNBA suck? Well, let's see what he has to say.
In honor of Women's History Month, I'm going to go watch some reruns of the WNBA Finals. Yeah. Any WNBA fans here? No. Okay. Bad people. A lot of bad people here. I don't know. I don't like the WNBA just because it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. You know what? Maybe I'm a piece of shit. Everybody yell out the name of your favorite WNBA player. Not all at once. I don't want you yelling all over each other. I'll have to take your word for it. I don't know. I don't even know. Nobody fucking knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I was asked that question once. There was a guy sitting right where you're sitting. And he puts his hand up. He goes, you know what? He goes, I'm a sports reporter for USA Today. I used to cover the WNBA. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Can you name one player? He's like, no. No, I cannot. It's a high turnover league. I think it could be good. I like women's sports. They need to make some changes to the WNBA. I think they need to do one or two things. First thing, I think they could do pretty easily, change the name of the league from the Women's National Basketball Association to the Lesbian National Basketball Association. If you know anything about the players in the league, it's not a lie, it's totally accurate. Just imagine, for the guys, you're flipping through the channels on a Sunday afternoon. The Lesbian National Basketball Association. Do I pay for this channel? I don't remember signing up for this. How much is this costing me? And then you turn it on, you're like, I hope I'm not paying for this shit. This is terrible. This is what they actually need to do. And when I say this, people get mad, and by people I mean women, but they need to lower the rim like a foot. I said this at a show once. This woman yelled out, she goes, fuck you. I'm like, oh, real WNBA purist, huh? She had never seen a game in her life. She just took that as a personal attack. She's like, what, women aren't equal? Not at fucking basketball, they're not, no. Women are not equal at basketball. Michelle Obama's got you ladies all fucked up, thinking you can do anything. There's no goal too high. I'm like, that one is. That one is specifically too high. Like, objectively, it's too high for you. It's not even like a sexist thing, right? Like, we could just all agree, right? Women are smaller people, so just lower the rim a proportional amount, right? Like, they already play with a smaller ball because women have smaller hands, and also it goes in the hoop a little easier, doesn't it, sweetheart? All right, that was a shitty thing for me to say, but I just want to see, a WNBA slam dunk competition. Wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah, seeing your favorite player you can't name doing like a 360 through the legs dunk on a Fisher-Price hoop. It'd be incredible, but it's fucking never going to happen. Anyways, you guys have been great. Thanks very much.
Yeah, the WNBA, it's really, I think, the patriarchy's greatest failure. I think it really marks that kind of low ebb of the patriarchy, unfortunately. They should have put a stop to it. Let's see, what's this? I haven't watched this yet. I'm going to watch this with you guys for the first time. From the Babylon Bee, 10 signs of Biden's decline that we all missed. Let's take a look. I've been looking forward to this one, actually.
Pray for Joe Biden, guys. He was diagnosed with cancer. This isn't satire or a joke. You really should pray for him. But the egregious part of all this is that his health conditions have been covered up for years. So here are 10 signs of his mental and physical decline that everyone missed. Number 1, the time Biden appeared at a press conference with Frankenstein's monster bolts in his neck. Talk about a faux pas. Number 2, White House visitor log showed over 17 visits by this dark hooded figure with a scythe. Wonder who that could be. Number 3, he couldn't name even one of the 151 first-generation Pokemon. Not good. I mean, all you have to do is sing along with the Poke Rap. Number 4, White House sources say staffers could only communicate with him using a Ouija board, all while claiming he was fine in public. Sad. Number 5, he stranded hundreds of Americans in Afghanistan and left behind billions of dollars worth of equipment. He had to have dementia, or else he's just a really evil guy. Probably just the dementia, though. Number 6, Biden had an old, wise sorcerer on staff to keep him alive via dark magic. In hindsight, the signs were all there. Number 7, one time Biden didn't blink for 19 hours straight. He just stood there, staring straight ahead, which was really weird because he was visiting a kindergarten class at the time and they had to just turn him around and put him in the corner of the room until he rebooted. Number 8, that time at that press conference in Massachusetts in 2022 when he literally said that he has cancer.
That's why I and many other people I grew up have cancer.
Sometimes you got to read between the lines. But this isn't one of those times. He said it. Number 9, he had an intense Oval Office meeting with Rutherford B. Hayes. That's not even a real person. Number 10, finally the most obvious sign of his mental decline, he selected Kamala Harris as his running mate. This man was not well. Now that we've laid out all the evidence of Biden's decline, we just can't figure out how he could have missed the signs. We just want to say thank you to all the brave journalists and Democrats for finally uncovering the truth the rest of us were just too blind to see.
I think my favorite one was how they had to communicate with them through a Ouija board.
Using a Ouija board, all while claiming he was fine in public.
That's genius. That one is genius. Oh, good stuff. Let's see. What is this? It's amazing how easy it is to be honest when you're trying to sell a book instead of trying to get your preferred candidate elected. So let's see the difference between Jake Tapper in 2023 and Jake Tapper in 2025. Let's take a look.
There's no evidence to support the allegation my father was financially involved in my business because it did not happen. There's no fairness or decency in what these Republicans are doing. And I do have to say, whatever you think of Hunter Biden, and there's certainly a lot of people in this town, Democrats and Republicans, that do not think a lot of him, there is a certain kind of like cruelty to the campaign against him. Where is Hunter? Where is Hunter? Where is Hunter?
Hunter was driving the decision making for the family in a way that people, he was almost like a chief of staff of the family.
Does that strike you as pretty bizarre?
It's bizarre because I think he is provably, demonstrably unethical, sleazy, and prone to horrible decisions. I mean,
tell me how you really feel.
Well, I mean, I just look at the record. I mean, after his brother died, he cheated on his wife with his brother's widow and then got her addicted to crack. That's just one thing I could say. I mean, I don't have a lot of personal regard for him.
There's no.
So stuff that was known publicly back in 2023 was cruel then. Now, not so much. So, I mean, it really is just an object lesson in what I'm calling degenerate cynicism. Degenerate cynicism. Just so cynical, you just don't even care what happens anymore. It's just whatever. All right. Well, I guess that's it. So what, 3 hours and 31 minutes. All right. So I am going to, I'm going to have to jump on for a premium only stream at some point, because we still got like 3 hours to do before the end of the month. And it's actually coming up pretty quick, the end of the month. So I might just jump on. Like if I get just some energy, I might just jump on a random night. But I'm thinking probably Monday night we'll do it again. Yeah, because we did it last Monday. We did Sunday, Monday, Tuesday in a row. We'll probably do Monday again. I probably am going to do this new series called Useful Idiots. And this first one will be about a useful idiot, a British academic who spent a lot of time promoting insane, psychopathic communism. And the insane communists, psychopaths, that killed him for it. I'll save the name for the show. It'll be a surprise, but there's many such stories, actually. Like American communists going to the Soviet Union and ended up being like slaughtered there. There's many such cases. But that might be a premium only one, which then a few days after I'll cut it down into a shorter clip video that will just be available for everybody. I don't want to do the premium. I have to do it to stay in the creator program on Rumble. So, and we still got to do like 3 hours of that before the end of the month. So we'll find some more time. But otherwise, we should be back Sunday, unless I go crazy and decide to go on, like just jump on and do like a stream tomorrow night for some reason. I don't know why I'd do that. Maybe I'll lose my mind and just go ahead and do that. I don't know. If you're not subscribed to the channel, though, before we leave for the evening, subscribe now. Don't wait. Don't let the gatekeepers make the decision for you. Just decide, do it right now. Use your agency, subscribe to the channel. Every time you go on to whatever platform you're watching on, you'll see my stuff there, and you can make the decision for yourself. It's out of the hands of the gatekeepers at that point. So do it. And or otherwise you're a communist or something. And also like the stream. Like the stream. The only people who don't like the stream are communists. So prove that you're better than the communists. Here's another thing. I don't understand why. I've never put a thumbs down on any content. If I'm watching something and I don't like it, I just don't watch it. I don't understand the people that like they have this. It's a leftist thing. I don't think many like people on the right do this. I think it's really a leftist thing where they just have to let you know. It's not a big deal. My like to dislike ratio is like 98% or something positive. So it's not a big deal, but I just noticed that there seems to be sometimes just somebody who will just go and do like a downvote on like every video, right? And it'll be like 98% upvotes, right? It's just a weird thing. I think it's part of leftist psychology. It's a very leftist kind of thing. They just have to let you know they don't approve. And by the way, when the idiotic leftist comments on the videos, it's obvious every time that they've never watched the video. They don't know what they're talking about. They never have a point. It's always just they can never actually say anything specific about the video. I think a lot of it is just actually like warehouses in like China or wherever with big boards set up with hundreds of phones and people just going through and disliking anything sane that is not going to contribute to the fall of Western civilization. I think a lot of it is just that, because it's so clear that most of the time they've never watched the video. They don't know what's in the video. They're just going off the thumbnail. They're going off the title. It's a weird thing. It doesn't really matter, right? It's just something that I've noticed. But anyway, let's get to the last bit of the chat and we'll call it a night. Rosie says, wonder if I can respond, I reclaim my time, if Richie behaves nefariously. No, I own everybody's time. Let's see. What are you guys talking about in the chat? Sometimes you guys just go off on your own crazy world. Rosie says, 16 years old, phooey, I reclaim my time. Birthdays are important. Well, maybe I'll say 18. 18 then. We'll compromise. You can still celebrate your birthday till you're 18. Let's see. 18-year-olds can. Let's see. Rosie says, and cake. Cake is important. How come none of your baloney muses make cake? I'll have to look for that, actually. It's an excellent point. I said that you can get cake. You can get food for your birthday. Cake is food. You can get that. Just no presents or cards. Let's see. Rosie says, Candace Parker was awesome to watch at UT. Great athlete. After she joined WNBA, she got divorced and started dating women. It's mostly lesbians, I do believe. Like mostly, I mean like all of them. Rosie says, wait, really? Is that true? Regulation ball is smaller in WNBA than NBA. How did I miss this? I could have been an awesome basketball player at 5'3", but I never even tried. Had I known. Yes. Too bad. Next time around. Izzy says, love the bee. Gotta love the bee. Rosie says, yep, bee is funny. It took the place of The Onion, which is not funny anymore because it became woke and political. And it's just not funny. You can't be satire, but also be like the absolute dominant elite culture as well. Like you can't be like, you can't be the let them eat cake culture and be satire. It just doesn't work. Let's see. Looks like we lost Spambot. Good night, Spambot. Thanks for everything. We're going to be leaving in a second here. All right. That's it. We're done. We're done, everybody. Thank you to the chat. I always thank the chat because without the chat, I wouldn't bother doing these live streams because I'd be screaming out into a cold and different void. And that would be depressing, but it's not because you guys are here. So thanks, you guys. You're basically half the show. Everybody have a great weekend. Have a great time this weekend. I hope you all have great weather and have a great sleep tonight. And we'll see you all on Sunday, 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Good night, everyone.